We're live.
Yes, we are.
For now, we are.
Dun, dun, dun.
Who are you? Based on you being here, you can tell you're either maybe an actor or a screenwriter, but you're not just the type to start to write and finish it. Because you're here to watch a full hours of a screenplay being read, you're the type that really cares about your craft and will follow through. Yes, we're reading you.
And we're here to spend time with you.
Yes. And I want to introduce you to all of you. All right. Tonight we have Ari.
Hello, I'm Ari. I'm a voice actor. I'll be playing the role of Paco, Gas Company Man, and Ethan.
Yes, thank you, Ari. And Vicky Dykes.
Hi, I'm Vicky Dykes. Tonight I will be reading Lynn, middle-aged Brooklyn, homeless man, super, and older woman.
And we have Erin.
Hello, I am Erin Lillis, and tonight I'm playing Joe and Joe's thoughts.
Ooh, I'm so curious to see how they have that written in here, because they always say, don't do voiceovers, don't do this, that. And this whole thing has the thoughts all throughout the thing, because they're like, a book is different than a screenplay. So I'm excited to see that here. And we have Angel Peterson.
Hi, I'm Angel Peterson, and I'm Peach, Benji, MC, and Jono.
All right. And we also have Roxanne.
Hi, I'm Roxanne, and tonight I am Beck.
And Heather.
Hello, my name is Heather Lee Cameron, and tonight I'm Ron, Chenna, a voice, and the man.
All right. And I'm Jacob Patrick, and tonight I'll be reading Actions and Descriptions, as well as Mr. Mooney and Professor Lee.
Yeah,
All
Jacob's
right.
our man from Disneyland, the man from Disneyland. We have a man from Toronto, and now we have a man from Disneyland.
And we will get started.
That was a joke, a movie joke.
I don't know the man from Toronto. I might have to check that out. All right.
The Woody Harrelson movie, I believe.
Really?
Is it good? Do you guys recommend it?
Nope.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't seen the whole thing.
Probably a reason for it.
Well, we
But
appreciate
Kevin
your
Hart, I
honesty.
think.
Okay.
Kevin Hart and Woody Harrelson,
Ah,
man from Toronto. Yeah.
okay. Well, this is a Netflix TV show. This is the pilot, You, written by Greg Berlanti and Sera Gamble, based on the novel You by Caroline Kepnes. Aller Entertainment Berlanti Production Studio Draft, March 6, 2017. Over black. The ting of a shop bell as a customer walks in. Fade in. Interior Mooney's rare and used books, day. POV through shelves, a customer enters. We see only a sliver of her as we track her through the stacks in the POV of a watcher we haven't seen yet, Joe. And we'll stay entirely in POV shots for a while, so get comfy. We hear Joe's wry, intrigued VO.
Well, hello there.
She's 20s, messenger bag slung over casual clothes, hair up, bangles rattle on her wrists. This is Guinevere Beck.
Who are you? Based on the bag, student with a random job or two. Got the eyeliner perfect in the mirror this morning, but your hair you put up on the train, and you don't care if it's crooked, which is a good look, not caring too much.
We track with the sound of her steps, catch glimpses as she moves through the store, scanning shelves.
Your sweater's loose. You're not here to be ogled. But those bracelets jangle. You like a little attention. Okay, I bite.
She fades into the stacks.
I watch you search the books. Fiction, F. K. Now, you're not the standard insecure nymph hunting for Faulkner you'll never finish. Too sun-kissed for Stephen King. Too untrendy for Heidi Julavitz. Who will you buy?
She accidentally jostles a passing customer.
Oh, sorry.
Your voice is sweet. apologetic, like you're embarrassed to be a good girl, and you murmur your first word to me.
We come around a corner and she's standing in the center of the aisle, staring right at us.
Hello.
Finally, we see him. Joe Goldberg, late 20s, hefting a load of reshelves, unassuming vibe. You wouldn't guess the tone of his internal VO from looking at him.
Do you work here?
Guilty. Help you find something?
Aren't essays usually in nonfiction?
Usually, but the owner has his own way of doing things. Who are you looking for?
Paula Fox?
Good choice.
I feel weirdly validated.
Follow me.
Another aisle. Moments later, Joe leads Beck in tow.
Most of her stuff went out of print years ago, but since Franzen started talking her up, we've been getting more requests. We keep her here.
Celebrity authors? I thought Fox was pretty obscure.
She's Courtney Love's maternal grandmother. You're not expected to know that.
Good. I didn't.
Mr. Mooney wants anyone in here that's even tangentially famous. Thinks it sells more books.
Well, that's sad. People buying books because of what's popular and not because they want to be moved or changed in some way.
It's an epidemic. See that guy?
Joe whispers conspiratorially, nodding his head toward a middle-aged Brooklynite right out of Central Casting.
Grabbed Dan Brown's latest on his way in. Now he'll walk around for another 5 to 10 minutes to try and find something legitimate to buy with it.
Like the cereal guys buy when they're really there for condoms. Only makes it more conspicuous. Like, own your shit. If Dan Brown's your kink, be out about it.
Joe smiles, almost a little too shy for this kind of talk.
And if I wasn't sure before, now I know. You're flirting with me.
They watch the middle-aged Brooklynite barely look at a book, tosses it on his stack. Beck reacts.
He's totally shame buying Dan Brown. At the end of the day, people are really disappointing, aren't they?
Sometimes they surprise you.
Beck turns back and for the first time really looks at Joe. He breaks her gaze, reminding her and us.
Paula Fox, there, top shelf. Want me to?
Nope, I got it.
Beck stands on her tippy toes to reach for Paula Fox. As she reaches, her breasts push through her sweater.
Are you not wearing a bra? And you want me to notice? If this was a movie, I'd grab you and we'd right in the stacks in the moonlight. But it's daytime, and I'm wearing an apron with a name tag.
Beck lands back on her feet, book in hand.
Have you read her fiction?
Western Coast, twice.
Desperate Characters is her best.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing.
You
haven't read Desperate
I don't know. I know. I was worried it wouldn't live up to the hype, so I haven't. Is that weird?
Why, I've never watched The Wire. Like, it can't be that good.
I've never watched The Wire. But I tell people I did because I don't want to be judged.
I've actually read Desperate Characters, and I can safely say it is that good.
Well, that's a pretty high endorsement. And from a bookstore clerk, nonetheless.
Hey, that's a bookstore manager.
Hello? Anyone working here?
Revere broken. Joe's looks over. The middle-aged Brooklynite is at the counter now, looking miffed.
Just a second, sir. Sorry, I have to.
Help a rude customer. Enjoy that Dan Brown, motherfucker.
The Brooklynite looks away, caught. Beck smirks at Joe, who just laughs as he walks down the aisle. By the counter, moments later, Joe rings the Brooklynite, refusing to be hurried. Behind Joe, a glass wall to an office wherein Ethan, 20s, sloppy, big-hearted, works. He can see everything.
Do you mind? I'm in a hurry.
Joe looks down at the Dan Brown and a paperback Franny and Zoe as he rings the man up.
He's just pissed he's got to buy Salinger to feel respectable when all he really wants to do is sit eating Cheetos with one hand and jerking it to Pornhub with the other before washing it all down with a Dan Brown chaser. You have a nice day, sir.
The man grumbles, exits. Beck approaches with the book she came for and Desperate Characters.
Okay, I'm going for it.
You won't regret it.
Well, I better not.
Ethan enters with a fresh roll of receipt paper. And Ethan has been given to Ari.
Paula Fox, nice. You know, she was Courtney Love's maternal grandmother.
That's why I'm buying it.
She gives Joe a playful look, hands over a credit card.
You have enough cash to cover this, but you want me to know your name. Guinevere.
Yeah, my parents were assholes with the naming. Everyone just calls me Beck. And you're Joe.
Goldberg, but everyone calls me Joe.
They shake hands, touching for the first time.
Aren't you going to tell me to have a nice day?
You have a nice day, Beck.
You have one yourself, Joe.
And with one last smile, Beck leaves. Joe studies the receipt carefully, thumbing her signature.
You smiled at me, laughed at my jokes, told me your name, asked for mine.
When she's gone, Ethan looks over. Regarding the receipt,
She wrote her number on there.
No.
I'm surprised. She was gaming you hard.
Nah, she was just being nice.
I'd be googling the hell out of her right now. You know her full name.
Wow. Thanks. Never would have thought of Google, you cheesy, ferret-faced box of stupid. That's pretty aggressive.
What do I tell you? It's Gary Glenn Ross. Always be closing that shit. If you need me.
I'll be working in the cookbooks, but for work, not for fun, I swear, huh?
But for work, not for fun, I swear, ha.
At the end of the day, people are really just disappointing, aren't they?
Joe eyes the work computer on the counter.
But are you, Beck? Are you?
Joe looks out the window. He can see Beck in the distance, heading down to the subway. Off Joe's eyes, fade to title, You. Fade to, exterior Mooney's rare and used night. Joe locks up. He sees a walking couple stop to kiss.
Yes, people find happiness. They find the one. I believe in that. I try to stay open. I was in love once. She broke my heart, Beck. The last one, she really did a number on me.
Exterior New York streets continuous. Joe walks home in his thoughts as couples and singles, wisecracking packs of boys, young women texting, wistful girls with headphones on move past him.
You could say I'm surprised I'm standing. In many ways, though, it was my fault. I should have seen the signs. They were blatant. But we never do see the signs when we're in love.
Joe walks into a takeout Italian place. Exterior rundown neighborhood, name to follow, night. Joe heads to his unamazing apartment building, carrying the takeout bag. He looks up, and in the second-story window, he spots a couple fighting, loud.
Exhibit A, Claudia and Ron. Claudia's a nurse and a single parent. You think she knew Ron was an alcoholic shitbag when she fell in love? No, she thought he was a prince on a goddamn horse.
Interior hallway of Joe's building continuous. Joe climbs the stairs and we see Paco, 11, skinny, sweet and extra bright, sitting against the paint-chipped wall, reading an old copy of Three Musketeers.
And now hers is not the only life she ruined.
Go outside?
Hey, Paco.
Sup, Joe?
More yelling inside. Something is thrown. It shatters.
Everything cool in there?
Yeah, my mom and Ron are just talking.
Talking? Joe follows Paco's lead, pretending it's not what it really is. Looks to the novel on Paco's lap.
You're almost done with that book. You just started 3 days ago.
Reads quick with all the sword fights. Never gets boring.
Let me know when you finish. I'll toss you another one.
Joe's about to go inside, but gives one more glance to angelic, hungry-looking 11-year-old boy.
You hungry? I got this meatball wedge, and then I remembered I have Thai left over from last night, and suddenly I'm not in the mood for Italian anymore.
Paco's eyes say how hungry he is. Still, he declines.
Nah, my mom will make me something later.
It's a shame. Meatball wedges don't keep. This shit's getting tossed.
You sure, Joe?
All for one and one for all.
Joe hands over the wedge, smiling. Paco snatches the bag, digging in before Joe even enters his apartment. Interior Joe's apartment continues, a mix of vintage furniture contrasted with unruly piles of books. Joe enters, crosses to the kitchen, looks inside the empty fridge, notably no Thai takeout.
The point, Beck, love isn't just tricky. It's a trick. A guy needs to protect himself. I had to be sure you're safe. Your name was a glorious place to start.
Later, Joe finishes some peanut butter and saltines out of a sleeve. He sits in front of an elderly MacBook. On screen, the search box. Joe types in Guinevere Beck.
There's not a lot of Guinevere Becks.
A host of sites come up: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, etc. He begins to click and scroll. This social media montage will be a signature of the series.
There you were, every account set to public. You want to be seen, heard, known. Of course I obliged.
Photos come at us fast as we move through his collage of Beck's life from childhood to woman she is today.
Born and raised Nantucket Island. A brother, Clyde, and a sister, Anya. Your parents really were assholes about the names. Dad died when you were in high school. Heart attack, according to the local papers. Anya and Clyde stayed. You escaped.
More photos. College life. Drinking with friends. Concerts on meadows. Tailgates. Beach days with boys.
Left to study at Brown, where you majored in lit and minored in douchebags.
More photos. Beck in the city. Doing yoga. Reading lit.
Then on to NYC to conquer a Columbia MFA and make your mark. You still write. Barely. Too busy living out moments you won't remember 5 years from now. I know this because you post about this life all the fucking time.
Exterior, the High Line, another night. Beck and some girlfriends will meet soon, happy, tipsy, and carrying a wine bottle in a brown paper bag.
Candidly, it's the least appealing thing about you, Beck.
Beck is drawn to the edge, pairing out. A friend, Lynn, Asian American, just pretty, smart, rich enough to slide by in life, affects a perpetual bored deadpan, calls to her.
Hurry up, Beck. We told them we'd be there an hour ago.
Beck types a tweet on her phone. We hear her voice.
We are T-10 to karaoke Katy Perry. This is your final warning. Humans with ears.
Interior, the subway earlier that day. Beck on the subway right after meeting Joe.
You posted this hours after our encounter.
She looks down at the book cover of Desperate Characters, snaps a picture of her Insta, and types.
Most of my favorite people are books.
Interior, Joe's apartment, same time. Joe studies the Instagram, almost offended.
For a second, I was concerned you didn't mention that cute guy in the bookstore.
He scans through more pictures. We do too. A super fast slideshow of a young, happy-go-lucky girl in the city.
Then I realized your online life isn't real. It's an artistic collage, and you want it all to seem so carefree. So you paste this Beck up everywhere. This together, lovable, cute, bendy creature.
Joe stops on one photo in particular. Beck and Lynn in front of a building shoving a couch up the stairs.
If anything, the fact that you didn't share me with your followers only confirms we really connected.
Joe copies and pastes a photo into a search engine. He searches images. Something comes up. He smiles.
The next thing our friend the internet gave me was your address.
Revealed the screen is a clear picture of a building in the West Village. The address listed right below. Exterior 51 Bank Street Day. A real-life shot of the same building from the photo across the street. Joe stands tucked unobtrusively by a stoop with a big brick staircase. You'd walk right by without noticing.
There it is, with its big naked windows.
From across the street, Joe has a private, relatively unobstructed view of the slightly elevated first floor apartment. Windows are uncovered, everything on view.
Definitely more than you could afford. I'm thinking subsidized school housing.
Beck walks by, naked except for a towel.
Jesus, Beck, it's like you've never seen a horror movie or the news.
Joe looks around at the pedestrians coming and going outside. They stroll past, not seeming to care.
But you want people to watch, don't you? I plan on asking you about this quality when we get to know each other better.
Inside, Beck heats a microwavable dish for dinner, takes out her phone, scrolls while she eats, types something.
A proposal. Why don't we spend the day together tomorrow? Just you and me.
As if on cue, Joe's phone chirps, alerting him to a tweet. Beck's voice, unmuted, says, "You're muted." Roxanne?
To everyone out there chasing their dreams, don't give up. And in the meantime, mac and cheese.
Okay, Beck. It's a date.
Interior, a thrift shop. Afternoon. Joe ruffles through an assortment of secondhand clothes, some blue collar, some higher end. He's on the phone. Intercut, Ethan at the bookstore stacking some shelves.
Dude, I hope you don't have what I had.
I think I do.
It's an Ethiopian super strain. It does like a dual. Do I have to shit or puke? Sophie's choice thing. Also, there's an amazing veggie soup in Gwyneth Paltrow's cookbook. Notes from my kitchen table cleared me right up. I can make you some.
No, I can't risk getting you sick too.
By the counter, Joe finishes, hangs up, drops his purchases in front of the matronly clerk. "You an actor or something?"
How did you know?
Joe takes his bag and exits.
Is everyone in this city a fucking moron, Beck? Rhetorical.
Music up, a romantic Parisian style bal musée plays as we begin a montage of Joe stalking Beck for the day. Outside Beck's apartment, Joe watches, dressed in his first thrifty get-ups, 80s tracksuit, Yankee cap, a backpack over his shoulder.
Our day starts at the ass crack of dawn. I know from your posted schedule that you teach a 6:30 class called Get Up and Flow.
In her apartment, Beck hurriedly preps for her day, drinking coffee. Inside a yoga studio, Beck teaches a class to a bunch of middle-aged white people, reveal Joe across the street watching her.
You caress the sweaty backs of bulimic, dead-eyed, real mommies of Soho whose haircuts cost your rent, offering smiles and lies of encouragement.
Beck adjusts Tasha, who is, let us say, not good at yoga.
I'm loving your form today, Tasha.
On a college campus, on Beck racing across the lawn, revealed Joe dressed as a student, pretending to talk into his phone.
By 10, you're at a campus to TA a romantics class and play Vanna White to some shirt.
She catches up to Professor Lee, 50s and gross, but he thinks he's 30s and hip.
Morning, Professor Lee.
"I told you, it's Paul. Wouldn't want students thinking I was like those other stuffy, tenured a-holes. Now, would we?" He drapes his arm around Beck. She reacts only slightly.
Professor Obvious wants to fuck you. You're smart. You let him think one day he might. What's the harm in that, right?
They enter the building, bringing us to a dinner off Union Square. Inside waiting tables is a tireless Beck. She moves effortlessly like a dancer between rush customers.
By lunch, you're at your second job.
We see Joe through the glass. He's across the street on a bench, dressed blue collar now, eating a sandwich. Later, back inside, shift complete, Beck now sits at a corner booth, laptop out, trying to write.
After your shift, you hide in the corner and try to write for the first time all day. But your life doesn't cooperate.
Her phone starts buzzing with texts and alerts. Crap.
Your wealthy girlfriends have just now woken up and have nothing better to do than text emojis and like each other's drunk selfies from the night before.
Beck relents, closing her laptop and texting back.
Can we get real for a second? You have shitty taste in friends, Beck.
A pricey retail store in Soho. Beck chats up a saleswoman, checking out $3,000 handbags.
An expensive taste in lives.
There's Joe gazing through the window, seeing Beck stealthily snip the tag off a McQueen scarf, pocket it with hurried shoplifter grace. She heads out. Outside the store, Beck dashes for it, right past Joe, invisible to her.
You want so badly to be one of them.
an upscale eatery in the village. Warmly lit table of laughing, drinking girls, including Beck, birthday friend of Channa, carefree party instigator, loud, laugh, sexy, extra few pounds, Lynn and Queen Bee, Peach, imperiously skinny, mon-eyed, confident, moneyed. Thank you. Channa is opening a present, the scarf Beck stole. Everyone coos.
Do you like it?
No, I hate it. Of course I flipping love it, Beckish.
Because you can always return it.
Reveal Joe sitting at a nearby table, Mets cap on, facing away from them, pretending to read a book.
Bold one, Beck. Color me impressed.
Please, I said I love it. I mean it.
Jason didn't even get her something that nice. And Channa finally let him do anal.
The group laughs. Channa semi-playfully smacks Peach.
Please open my gift next and see how much you hate me then, lady.
Channa does. It's a necklace with a diamond-encrusted dolphin. The group oohs. Beck slouches. Her moment in the sun already eclipsed.
Oh, a dolphin. It's my spirit animal for the year. You remember.
Only because you won't shut up about it. Here, let me put it on you.
Okay, so how much anal is Peach getting?
Whatever she wants. Where's your strap on, Peach?
At least I'll use lube, honey.
More laughs from the group. Joe grimaces. Outside the cafe, just after, the group says goodbyes. They beg Beck to go out with them, but she resists.
They've got nothing to do after this. So yeah, they'll party till 5 and scrape it together tomorrow. You can't.
Joe, pretending to check his phone, exits the restaurant as Lynn and Channa peel off in one direction.
I'll catch up, guys.
Peach lingers with Beck. She pulls cigarettes out. Joe leans against a wall, scrolling his phone. Anonymous. You never spot him. Peach lights a cigarette, waves smoke away. All business.
A McQueen's scarf, Beck. How much was it?
Maybe not all your friends are dumb.
It was on clearance.
They haven't put a McQueen scarf on clearance since he hung himself in 2010. It would be too much for you to pay, even if she deserved it, which God knows she does not.
Peach watches Beck try to shrug this off, uncomfortable.
How broke are you?
Beck's taken aback by the direct question.
I'm okay.
Tell me what's up.
Really.
Actually sounds like she cares.
Look, I appreciate.
Beck, why don't you just let me loan you some cash? I keep telling you, I literally have 3 trust funds, all from relatives I hated. You'd be doing me a favor. How much do you need?
If only she didn't also sound so condescending.
0, Peach. But if I ever do,
Better ask.
Peach smooths Beck's hair, a sisterly gesture.
Can't have you run yourself into the ground. You're my only friend I actually like. Don't strand me here with those dumb bags. I swear to God.
Beck laughs out loud. Now Peach takes Beck's hand.
I'd do anything for you. Don't forget that.
Beck looks down at Peach's hand in hers, and for a split second, it suddenly feels just like the tiniest hair. Weird. Peach casually withdraws her hand. Moment over.
Sure you don't want to come out with us?
I got it right.
Virtuous. Catch you later.
They share a 100% standard girl buddy hug, and Peach heads off like a low-key queen of New York City she is.
So is that the best friend you've got? If so, Beck, you really are alone.
Finally, back at Beck's place, her window illuminates as she enters for the night, pulls off her shirt, and flops onto the couch in her bra.
Your social media is a liar. It says you're a happy-go-lucky dilettante.
Beck nurses a Diet Coke, immerses herself in her writing.
But you seem like the genuine article.
Outside, Beck focuses on her work. When her cell buzzes, she checks a text, hesitates, unsure whether to answer. An attractive late-20s hipster type in expensive but unkept clothes breezes past Joe. This is Benji. Joe falls back into the shadows, pretending to immerse himself in his phone. He watches Benji dial his cell.
Come on, Beck. I see you in there. Your light's on, babe. Let me up.
Through the window, we see Beck finally walk to her door and push the buzzer. Benji smiles, sauntering up the stairs and into her place. Mission accomplished.
Beck? Who the fuck is this?
End of Act 1. Act 2. Interior Beck's apartment, minutes later. On Beck, pacing and pissed. She's cleaning her place, barely listening to Benji's half-hearted apology.
So that's it? You're not even going to try to hear my side of it?
My best friend walked in on you getting your dick sucked by some random woman in a bathroom at a party I took you to.
It was one skank from Hoboken. I was wasted. I didn't even finish.
That's your apology? I didn't come? That's the one you're going with.
Okay, listen. I shouldn't have gotten that wasted. And I for sure shouldn't have mixed Aerodol, Percocet, and 3 Moscow mules. Trust me, I will never do that again. And obviously I wouldn't have gone into the bathroom with any girl that wasn't you. But I was out of my mind. And she said she had good coke, and I've been seriously stressed. And I thought when Jono and me started our own line, it was going to be picking favors and crap. But turns out 16 hours of lectures from a smelly Korean chemist on microbial management and filtration. And that's why no one starts their own artisanal soda, and why America has to keep drinking crap that's given them cancer.
A beat as Beck comprehends the entirety of his apology.
Wow. I was wrong. You actually managed to connect your illicit blowjob to cancer. I'm genuinely impressed.
Across the street, Joe watches, circumspect.
Way to go, Beck. Looks like a catch.
Joe's phone is out. He scrolls through Beck's Instagram account with a picture of Benji, Beck and friends in the Hamptons, follows a link to Benji's account, and begin a montage of Benji's social media, Twitter, Insta, Facebook, etc. Again, this will be a motif of the show as Joe encounters someone of interest.
Benjamin J. Tuttle III, Greenwich born, boarding school bred, then on to Cornell, legacy admission, seeing as his father is the Ben Tuttle of Tunnel Brokerage. At least 2 failed careers since college, model, oh boy, and co-creator of a busted dating app that connects people through their musical tastes called Love Notes. Currently CEO of Home Soda Artisanal Beverages, motto, drink better by hand, which makes no sense but evokes a homespun quality that lines up well with a guy who wears $600 Japanese sneakers. The hair, the entitlement, the privilege, tries to hide with retweets about Black Lives Matter. Not to sound judgmental, Beck, but this guy is everything wrong with America.
Back to Joe. He looks back at the window. We go back inside. Benji moves closer, undeterred.
Seriously, Benji. I'm drowning in work and I don't have time to keep hooking up or whatever it is you're even capable of.
I'm capable of more. Just let me try. Obviously you want to, or you wouldn't have let me up. I know I've done some stupid crap, but I'm really on it now. Full on new leaf. I don't want to be just some guy you sleep with, Beck. I want you to see where this goes. Don't you?
We see the hurt finally seep into her eyes.
You're such a bastard.
God, you make me insane.
Finally, Beck gives in, kissing him. Back with Joe. Joe's face is etched in disappointment, shakes his head, reaching into his knapsack sack for some chips. As he does.
This is why I do my research. Here I was about to label you safe bet, and your biggest red flag is revealed. You fall for the wrong men. Bad men. You let them in. You let them hurt you.
Joe's voyeur POV through the window. We watch in cuts as Benji and Beck are on the bed having sex. As it ends.
Too far away to know for sure, but my guess is if he came anywhere close to making you orgasm, you'd have made a Broadway production out of it. But you didn't, because he didn't.
Back with Beck and Benji. Benji sighs contently. He kisses Beck and rolls off. Benji grabs for his pants and his vape pen, turns it on and notices the book sitting there on her nightstand.
Desperate characters.
Picked it up yesterday. You can borrow it when I'm done. It's supposed to be.
Jono's consultant we brought in. She's all over me about that kind of thing. She saged the crap out of the office. Anyway, the book title has the word desperate in it. You don't want to think of yourself as a desperate character, Beck.
She knows he's lecturing her from a pretty silly soapbox, yet the advice still makes her uneasy. It lands. But then he smiles, simple, direct.
Because you're the opposite, babe. You're the smartest girl I know. Honestly, you blow me away.
Okay, now we get it. When Benji actually focuses on the human beside himself, he's irresistible. But the moment evaporates the second he checks his phone and sees.
Crap, gotta roll. Jonah's blowing up my phone. Hey, maybe you can come by, test the new flavors. We're doing a cumin because I know how much you love Indian food.
Yeah, sure. Sounds great.
Beck puts on a t-shirt over her naked body.
It looks good on you, by the way. The extra weight.
Benji's on his phone halfway out the door.
On my way, bro. You guys ordering pizza? Yeah, but not from that vegan place. Vegan pizza tastes like stale butt.
Benji's gone. Beck surveys the now empty apartment. She flops down on the couch with her phone, frustrated. She grabs her remote, clicks on the TV, channel surfs. Outside, Joe watches.
He's a bad habit. You know he is, Beck. You look like you want to apologize to yourself every time you think about him.
Back inside, Beck turns the TV off, a beat, and her hand slips under her shirt. Eyes slip shut in concentration, brow furrows, something lonely, vulnerable about the gesture. After a second, we realize she's masturbating. Outside, Joe takes a step back.
Shit.
He turns away, like he wants to give her privacy, but then he can't help it. He looks again.
So you didn't finish.
Joe watches with something like tenderness. From Joe's voyeur POV, Beck pleases herself with the abandon of a girl who thinks she has complete privacy. Joe reaches down to adjust what is clearly a hard situation in his pants. He looks around at the empty street, considers something for a second as we go back inside. Beck is still on the couch, only now Joe is standing above her. But she doesn't scream. Instead, Beck smiles, beckoning. Joe removes his shirt, undoes his pants. He climbs atop her. They begin to make love. Beck arches. Muted.
Thank you. Oh, you're so kind. And my husband always says there's no nice young.
Wait.
That was a jump. Yeah, Vicky, sorry. Roxanne, we didn't hear it. Yeah.
That's right, Joe. Just like that.
That's when the sound of a door opening pulls us back. Across the street, where Joe has been masturbating in the shadows of a building, an oblivious older woman resident leaving the building has just interrupted Joe and his fantasy. Joe buttons his pants, turns to where the older woman struggles to carry a piece of luggage down the stairs. Ever the polite boy, Joe sighs and moves to help.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you're so kind. My husband always says there's no nice young people left in New York.
As Joe places the luggage down on the sidewalk, from his POV, Beck's done. She's walking away from the couch to get a snack. Joe missed the big moment.
I don't suppose you can help me hail a cab, can you?
Of course.
Joe glumly raises his hand to flag a cab. Dissolved to. Exterior Joe's apartment establishing later. Joe trudges up the street, his big day complete.
Something's in the air tonight, Beck, because everyone but me is getting action. Even lovebirds Claudia and Ron made up.
Joe looks up to his neighbor's window where a shade is drawn, but sounds of intense lovemaking emanate.
Their sex is somehow louder than Ron beating the ever-loving shit out of her.
Interior Joe's building staircase moments later. Joe walks up the landing and he finds Paco on the floor by his door, reading the end of The Three Musketeers.
Don't tell me you're done.
Finished yesterday. Just reading the good parts today. I did the delegate. Tight action, good characters. Sometimes the dialogue is weird though, like when they're killing each other and still all nice to each other about it.
Well, it was the 19th century. People still had manners.
I was hoping we could go get another one.
It's pretty late, Pac.
They're interrupted by the sounds of Paco's mother and her boyfriend having sex.
Okay, sure. Let's go, but only if we get some milkshakes on the way.
Paco lights up, leaps up excitedly, and down the stairs in front of Joe, pretending to sword fight, adding,
We are men, and after all, it is our business to risk like our lives.
Interior Mooney's rare and used. Later. Joe unlocks the door and they enter. Joe flips on the lights as Paco weaves through the stacks, slurping his milkshake and speaking in an adolescent torrent.
Did you know Damas was a black dude? I Googled him at school. I'm not allowed to use Ron's computer because one time I found all these naked women on it. Ron told me it's because he's learning to paint the human form. And if I touch his stuff again, he would teach me a lesson in respect. Anyway, Damas' grandmother was a slave, and his dad was a brigadier general in Napoleon's army. He was nicknamed the Black Devil because this one time he killed like half a battalion. You probably knew that since you work in a bookstore. How'd you get to work there anyway? Work here anyway.
Paco arrives at a section where Joe scans a shelf.
Mr. Mooney gave me a job when I was just a little older than you. Sort of took me in.
He sounds nice, Mr. Mooney.
Ah, he was a dick, but he loved books and he taught me to love them too.
I never see him here. Is he dead?
Nope, just really old. He lives in assisted living. Must be out.
Out of what?
Your next read. I guess Ethan didn't reorder it. Come on, follow me. I'll show you where we keep the good stuff.
Interior Mooney's rare and used basement moments later. Lights flicker on, revealing a dimly lit basement stacked with shipping boxes, cleaning supplies, and in the middle of it all, a massive cage. Really, a state-of-the-art safe. A room within a room made of steel and plexiglass carefully constructed to house rare books. Paco looks at the structure with more awe than fear.
The cage. It's where we keep the early editions and collectibles.
It's cold.
65 degrees. Soundproof so that nothing would disturb Mr. Mooney's reading. There's even a toilet so he didn't have to come upstairs to use the bathroom while he was down here.
If the zombies come, this is where I'm hiding.
Joe unlocks the cage. They enter. Paco walks over the collectibles. He lovingly runs a finger over the lucite encased spine of an old edition. Then we hear, "Careful, careful, Joseph." Paco turns and we flash back to years earlier. Mr. Mooney, Russian immigrant, 50, stands over a 14-year-old Joe with a home-cut hair and a black eye. "When it comes to the book's value, it's all about the condition. I'll show you." Back to Paco and Joe. Joe crosses and begins to instruct Paco, and we intercut between them and Mr. Mooney on young Joe years earlier.
Always 65 degrees at all times. Humidity at 40%. If it's too moist, the pages can mildew.
Too dry, and they get brittle. Keep books upright so the spines don't become warped or rolled or what we call cocked.
You don't want the flaps tucked or creased in any way. We dust the covers once a day with a chemical-free duster.
Always dust toward the spines so they don't tear or rip at the corners.
And under no circumstances is there any sunlight in this room.
Sunlight can ruin a book as fast as fire.
Faster.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff to remember just to take care of some old books.
Joe leans down close to Paco, the closest he's gotten yet. It should make us feel a little uncomfortable.
The most valuable things in life, Paco, are usually the most helpless. So they need people like us to watch over them, protect them, you know?
Joe reaches his hand out towards Paco's face and right past him to grab a book he's looking for.
Here you go.
The Count of Monte Cristo. Sorry.
Considered to be Dumas's best work. It's about revenge and waiting for what you want, even if it means waiting a really, really long time.
Paco holds it respectfully, a little worried.
I probably shouldn't take this home.
It's not a first edition, just an old one. And besides, I trust you.
Paco smiles. It's nice to be trusted. Interior Joe's building hallway later. Joe and Paco, book under his arm, head up the stairs. Ron, Paco's stepdad, stands there waiting. He's pissed.
Where you been, Paco?
We just grabbed some milkshakes.
Did you ask if you could grab food? Do you walk away with strangers?
Joe's not.
Yes, he is. Go inside now.
Paco throws an apologetic look to Joe and heads in.
Stay away from my girlfriend's kid.
Joe manages to answer calmly.
Listen, I'm sorry, but he was out here and he could hear everything that was going on in there.
Don't tell me how to parent, weirdo. Maybe this works on other people, though I'm a sweet, nice guy act. But I'm a parole officer, 15 years, and I can see what you are.
Well, you're a fat alcoholic who beats the shit out of her bipolar girlfriend in front of her son. So please illuminate me. What am I?
You're a freak. You got freak eyes. So you stay the heck away from Paco, or I take your freak eyes out with a freaking steak knife. Do you understand me, you loser piece of crap?
Enough said. Ron heads back inside. Joe stands there.
There are some scary people in the world, Beck. That's why it's important to be safe.
Finally, he heads to his apartment.
And why I had to do what I did next.
End of Act 2. Act 3. Interior Mooney's rare and used midday. Slow day. Joe's looking at the store desktop computer.
A few days had passed and still no mention of the nice guy from the bookstore. Had we even connected?
On the screen, the latest from Beck's social media. More yoga pics, tweets about a night out, and even a selfie with her and Benji making weird faces into camera.
Maybe you were too busy screwing Benji to notice the real thing when it finally landed in your lap.
Ethan rushes in, backpack over shoulder.
Joe, sorry I'm late. Rastachi, my Ballalaka teacher, ran over today. Great guy, really slow talker. I hope I did not butcher that.
It's fine. Drop your stuff and come take over up front.
Ethan disappears into the back. Joe opens Google.
There was only one way to know for sure.
He Googles the gas company number, dials on his cell.
Hi, I'm smelling gas in our apartment.
Exterior Beck's building later. As a gas company van pulls up in front.
Fun fact, did you know, Beck, the law requires all gas leaks to be investigated.
Across the street, there's Joe standing, watching as our super exits Beck's building and greets the gas company man. Getting out of the van, they enter the building together.
I was careful to pick a day you had a full schedule. Wouldn't want to scare you.
Interior Beck's building hallway day, the super leads a gas company man to Beck's door.
She's at work, I think.
Must have called before she left.
The super pulls out a key ring and unlocks the apartment.
Worst lock in the building. Key sticks. Call when you're done. I'll come and lock up.
The gas company man enters Beck's apartment. Interior Beck's apartment later. The gas company man is packing up his stuff when...
Beck, you left the door open again. I thought we said no more doing that.
Joe enters to see the gas man.
Oh, hey, Beck here?
Nope.
Oh, did she let you in?
Her super did. Someone reported a leak.
Oh, she mentioned something this morning. Everything okay?
Yeah, I'll clear now. Tell your girlfriend there's no leak. I'm done, so.
Great. Thanks. I can lock up.
Gas company man shrugs, picks up his stuff, and heads out, leaving Joe alone among Beck's ever-worldly possessions.
Where is it, Beck? Holder of all secrets, your laptop.
A series of cuts, Joe delicately rummages through her place and starts at the couch, searches in and under it.
When we live together, your place won't be a pigsty. I'll clean for us.
Cut to Joe stops at a table where Beck left dirty Tupperware.
And you won't eat all this frozen shit. I'll cook for you every day. Promise.
Cut to Joe lifts a pair of panties off the dresser, holds them tenderly in his hand, pockets them.
I'll even do your laundry.
Cut to a shelf stacked with dog-eared copies of books. Joe examines the authors, opens one, flips through it.
And take care of your favorite books, especially the poets you seem to love.
Cut to Beck's unmade bed. Joe hovers, checks out the dent in the pillow. Gently, he pulls back the covers.
I'll make our bed every morning.
And there it is, Beck's laptop.
And no matter how hard you fight me,
Joe grabs the computer and sits on the bed, opens it up, and sure enough, it blinks right on.
I will always make sure you password protect your devices.
Joe is now freely searching across all of Beck's files. Photo booth is open. Joe inspects a stream of private selfies. A girl trying to figure out what her best angles are, what looks sexy. In some, she's topless. One day you won't need love anymore. You won't walk through the world as though it was your job to hold everything up. The sun, the sky, the hard part of the night. Interior professor's office, around the same time, where we find it's Professor Lee reading. He leans back in his chair. The afternoon sun casts a dusty glow. You loved him the way fragile kids love gorgeous bullies. You wrote poems about him. You still write poems about him. You're writing one right now. Reveal Beck sitting opposite, smiling expectantly. It's good. It's quite good. Sincerely.
I struggled with the form more than I thought I would.
But Beck, where are you on your thesis? You owe me pages.
It's been honestly working every day and grading papers.
Look, if the schedule is too rigorous, drop back to part-time.
Then I won't qualify for TA. I need the cash and the housing. I'd lose my place.
An edge is creeping into her voice. He hears it calmly. I'm sure you'll figure that out. You're smart, or you wouldn't be here.
Please, Professor Lee.
Paul.
I'll get you the pages by the end of the week. I can't go to part-time, okay?
He sits back, sighs, takes her in. I'm rooting for you, Beck. The poems are good. They're just not going to earn you a degree. It is what it is. But I also happen to think with work, your poetry could be something. I'm happy to discuss those further as well after class some evening. So casual, Beck could almost believe that he isn't hitting on her, is he? If we're going to seriously discuss poetry, it should be over a drink. Thursday, there's a small gastropub in Bowery that I love, hidden away from all this madness. Okay, yeah, Professor Lee is definitely DTF.
I would love that, Paul. It's just, how would your wife feel
About me helping out an inspiring writer? She's used to my generosity. Beck swallows her dignity and produces a slight smile. So, Thursday night then?
Thursday night it is.
Excellent. Don't worry about class the next few days. Go home and get caught up. I'll cover here in the meantime. Beck retains her composure, gathers her bag, and exits.
So I learned 3 definitive things by scouring your computer, Beck.
Exterior campus outside Lee's office day. As Beck walks from Lee's office amongst the sea of students, she is clearly upset by Lee's encounter.
First, your dad didn't die of a heart attack. He OD'd, and you were the one that found him. This explains your royally fucked up relationship with men.
Beck starts to text someone, and as she does, we see the text appear on crayon as she types it, and we hear.
I need to see you tonight.
Reveal her phone screen. It's a chat with Benji. Beck anxiously awaits a text back.
Second, you're really swept up in this Benji insanity. You text him incessantly. You write poems about him. Good poems. But he could care less about you. His texts are a series of non-committal words mixed with compliments meant to keep you hanging on.
Ping! Benji texts back. We read and hear in Benji's voice. Well, if I can, babe. Working late. A second later, another ping. Interior Beck's apartment, same time. And now we're with Joe as he sees the same text come up in real time in a box on her computer. P.S. I still smell like you. Off Joe's unimpressed face. Exterior campus outside Lee's office, same time. Back to Beck, who looks happy enough for the meager attention. She pockets her phone, continues walking.
But none of this matters because of my third and greatest discovery.
Interior Beck's apartment, bedroom day. Joe's lying comfortably on Beck's bed now, reading her computer and smiling the widest smile we've seen yet.
February 5th, 11:06 a.m., an hour after our encounter at the bookstore, amidst a group text with friends about the merits of vaginal detoxing, you wrote,
On screen in her chat history. Muted. For puppies, thank you.
Wow, just met a human male who actually reads. Alert the media. What if it's finally time for me to date someone good for me?
There it is. For Joe, this is the ultimate confirmation.
Thank you for letting me know I wasn't crazy after all.
In a moment of sheer enthusiasm, he does a silent cheer.
I was so excited I almost didn't hear your key in the door.
Suddenly, there is a sound of a lock, the front door. Luckily, for Joe, the lock sticks, worst in the building. Joe carefully closes the computer, buries it in the sheets.
Yeah, I remember what you said when you sent money last time. Yes, I'm grateful.
Beck walks into the bedroom, kicking off shoes. On sale, reveal the whole room. Joe's gone. Phew.
I'm working constantly. No, I've looked. There's no place cheaper to live.
Interior Beck's apartment, bathroom, same time. Joe looks for a window, no luck. Quietly, he steps into the shower, painstakingly pulls the curtain shut.
I wasn't worried. I've seen enough romantic comedies to know guys like me are always getting in jams like this.
Beck walks into the bathroom, still on the phone.
I did. And he basically offered to sleep with me. No, I can't report him. That's not how it works. Not the school, not the world. That's not how the world works.
Beck reaches through the still closed curtain and turns on the water. Joe's hit by the icy spray, can't make a sound.
I know this was all my choice. I know how much you helped me. It's just hard here. Harder than I thought.
As she listens, she deflates. It's a no. Quietly.
I'll figure it out. I gotta go. I'll talk to you this weekend. Oh, right. When you get back from the cruise. Have fun with Aunt Donna. Tell her I said hi. Bye, Mom.
Beck hangs up. She's standing at the mirror, taking in her whole day, week, life, and she begins to cry. Beck meets her own eyes in the mirror, grips the sink, really crying now. Shower pelting him. Joe listens.
It's okay, Beck.
He raises a hand as if to send consolation. Looks like she might get in the shower and end this whole pilot when her FaceTime buzzes. Beck answers. Lynn and Peach on screen, having fun.
Biatch, where are you? Where you at? Come play.
Guys, it's not even 6.
Why they call it happy hour?
I can't go out. I just had the worst day.
Whatever it is, Beckalicious, we can fix it.
Yes, us and copious amounts of drinking.
Beck thinks about it. An idea occurs, and determined.
Do you guys love me?
Oh my God, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like a sister.
Mhm.
Then I
Forever.
need you to meet me in Greenpoint.
Yeah. It's
Come
fun
to
where
us.
we are.
But there's something I need to do for myself. I'll text you on my way.
Beck hangs up. She reaches into the shower and turns it off. As the door shuts, Joe, soaking, finally exhales. End of Act 3. Act 4. Exterior, interior, street outside, evening. A semi-wet Joe flags down a cab. He gets in.
I never go to Greenpoint, but the things you do for love, right?
Joe looks at his phone and Beck's Twitter feed, sees.
Any girls, boys, or other that like poetry? There's an open mic tonight at Mike's Candy Store. Guess who's sharing?
650 Lorimar Street, Brooklyn.
Interior Mike's Candy Store night. The bar is packed. Neo-folk singer at the mic. Beck is at the bar ordering a drink. We find Peach and Lynn sitting a few tables away, looking miserable.
What is she thinking? She's just going to embarrass herself. This isn't girls. These people don't want to listen to a wannabe writer read a poem about the bleakness of life or whatever.
And all these chips I keep eating. I feel so fat right now.
Reveal Joe listening in from the next booth. Back to them, cap pulled low, eavesdropping.
Your friends are disloyal, and that Amazon Peach is the worst. The way she talks about them to you. As soon as you leave, she talks about you the same way.
Back to the ladies.
This is about Benji. She is so desperate for his attention that she will willingly go up in front of the most hypocritical crowd in all of Brooklyn.
He's so full of himself. The way he says his name like it's French. Benji.
Beck arrives back at the table with more drinks. She's for sure a little drunk already.
Another round of picklebacks.
You're a mite tipsy.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Beckish. We sure now's the night.
Positive. I need to do this. All of my life lately has been about surviving. I need to remind myself why I came here in the first place.
She checks her phone.
Why do you keep doing that?
Beck smiles like a child who's gotten busted.
I invited Benji. What? He likes poetry.
Back.
He's coming.
He texted he was coming.
I texted a row of smile emojis like 45 minutes ago. I think I see him.
We see what she sees, a tall hipster from the back.
Some guys are jerks, and you just have to accept that. You can buy him all the books in the world and he's still going to be Benji.
I get it, Peach.
You're the one who told me to keep reminding you he's a bastard.
On stage, the MC reads from the list.
Next up, we have Guinevere Beck.
Beck rises, a little unsteady, clutching her phone.
Vulnerability and shit.
Beck downs her drink, drunk now, and heads to the stage. Joe steps into shadow so as to not be spotted.
Hey, everyone. I'm Beck, and I'm, well, not to sound like, whatever, but I'm a poet.
Joe feels for Beck as nerves overtake her. She clears her throat. She reads into the mic from her phone.
One day you won't need love anymore. One day you won't walk through the world as though it was your job to hold everything up. The sun, the hard part of the night, the too much, the secret time when you wake to the sound of beating. Rise to answer the door for him. He's not there because the sound is coming from inside you, and you cannot answer it no matter how far in you go.
She checks the crowd. No one is listening. The hipster at the bar turns and she sees it's not Benji. This deflates her. She takes a breath, refocuses, but Joe steps half out of the shadows, transfixed.
You get dressed and put on your sneakers. You drive to a low building with bright signs. You order tall drinks. You play with your food, making mountains. You watch everything at 3 a.m. happening outside the window, and it is all you. It's all you. It is all you. And you will feel this way until you grow out of it. You will feel this way until you fall into some sense of the world.
Joe's frustrated with the audience that's paying no attention. One drunk man hails a waitress. A musician tunes his guitar. It's eating Beck's confidence fast.
You loved him the way fragile kids love gorgeous bullies. You wrote poems about him. You still write poems about him. You're writing one now.
Beck's friends cheer tipsidly. Beck loses her place in the poem. She scrolls anxiously.
Sorry, my phone went to sleep. Just take a second to find where I was.
The audience is louder. In her rejection now, the drunk man shouts for the next act. Others agree. Disaster.
I can't stand seeing this. I'm sorry, I just can't. It's obvious what you are.
Joe watches painfully before he finally leaves. Exterior Brooklyn street night. Joe walks away from the bar fast, pulls his coat tight against him, keeping out of the night air and the world.
You're blind with love and what you love. Writing, this city, your friends, and most of all, men like Benji. What all those things have in common is they will never love you back. While you give everything. Crazy the lengths we go for, love. We're a lot alike, Beck. Last of the true romantics.
Interior subway entrance stairs later. Joe stands dejected. The station is empty but for him and a homeless man singing to himself.
Engine number 9 on the New York Transit line.
I was considering this with my new friend, Mr. Insane Homeless Person, when the second luckiest thing that happened to me this week happened.
Joe sees a drunk, upset woman descending the stairs.
Could it really be?
Joe looks a little closer at the drunk woman.
It feels like I'm dreaming.
It's Beck. She's in her own world.
I'm not.
Joe moves behind a pillar. Beck walks toward the platform.
You're too drunk to be alone. What if some sicko had followed you down here?
Joe watches Beck. She takes out her phone and is drunk texting as she stumbles a little too close to the tracks.
And you're too wasted to be standing so close to the tracks.
Engine number 9 on the New York Transit line. If my train runs off the track.
Beck throws a glance at the man, moves away, closer to the tracks. Then, a new thought that must be texted.
Beck, stop texting that arrogant club soda no-show dickhead.
Beck's phone rings. She laughs at a response.
You want Benji. You need Benji. You hold that phone like it is Benji because it's your only means to stay connected.
She begins to text back, and walking as she does, unaware that she's walking closer to the edge.
Forget Benji and to hell with that phone.
Beck goes to pocket her phone, but it pings again. She goes to look at the response and accidentally drops it. The phone falls and slides right next to the edge. Beck bends down to pick it up when suddenly...
Engine number 9 on the New York Transit line.
Startling her, Beck straightens and falls off the platform onto the tracks with a scream. For a second, Joe stares with such passivity that we expect him to turn and leave her there. When...
Oh my God, help!
Joe looks to the homeless man, nervous what to do.
Help me! Someone help me!
Joe thinks, then finally races to the edge. Joe looks down, and Beck, in a total panic, sees him there.
Help me, please!
Hey, stay still. Half that shit down there can electrocute you.
She looks down the darkness of the tunnel.
The train's coming. I'm gonna die!
A train's not coming. You're okay.
If my train runs off the track, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
I'm gonna die because of his stupid freaking singing. That's why I fell.
Give me your hand.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
Sir, please?
Joe lies belly down on the platform, reaches out a hand.
You'll be okay. Just take my hand. Sir, shut the fuck up.
If my train runs off the track.
It's coming. I hear it coming.
Now we do hear the train coming. She's right. Crap.
Your hand, now.
Something in Beck snaps lucid. She goes, reaching up, and Joe pulls her back to safety. They lie side by side, breathing hard as a train whooshes by them. Beck's shaking. She pulls herself into a seated position, so close, and she's laughing, and she's crying. The train's gone. Silence. Beck calms. Joe and Beck's eyes meet, and she throws up on him. End of Act 4. Act 5. Exterior New York street night. Outside a 7-Eleven, Joe pours a bottle of water over the vomit on his clothes, cleans himself up with a wad of napkins. Beck watches, more sober and mortified.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. I hated this jacket.
I really am sorry. You mind?
She grabs the rest of the bottle and drinks it.
Let's get you in a cab.
Joe eyes the street for a cab.
I'm not always like this.
I figured you had some kind of bad night.
I drank because I have stage fright.
Actress?
Writer. Maybe not a writer. I don't want to sound like a stalker, but I think I know you.
I don't.
The bookstore the other day. Paula Fox.
Oh shit. I'm so sorry. Of course.
She pulls her hair out of her face and holds it.
This is what I look like when I'm sober and my hair
Of
is up.
course. Yes. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I have a pretty bland face.
No, you don't. And you have good taste. I remember Desperate Characters.
Yeah. Also, how apt in this particular moment. What are you doing out this way?
Joe smiles, hails a cab as it pulls over.
Visiting some friends. Where are you headed?
Village. You anywhere close? Go ride with me. It's the least I can do.
Interior cab night. Beck and Joe in the back seat. Beck watches the city through the window, fading from the long night.
I keep thinking I've reached the pinnacle of humiliation, and then I top myself.
Oh, I trip and fall all the time. Maybe not on actual tracks, but that's dumb luck.
Did you move here to be something? I did. It's not working out. I'm just running around 18 hours a day in search of a dream that gets more and more. Like when you look in a window and you breathe on it, so it gets cloudier and cloudier till you can't even see. I'm sure those words made no sense, said the alleged writer.
They made perfect sense.
I'm like dancing as fast as I can. And why? My mom will die not impressed. My dad already did die. What's it all built on? A foundation of like hope and adolescent angst and never mind.
She looks at him, then away, a little embarrassed.
Sorry.
Please, I feel the same way sometimes. This guy I know owns a bookstore, actually, once told me all the books add up to one essential truth, which is if your IQ is over a certain number, life is pretty much unbearable. And the number isn't even that high.
Oh, I do think I would be happier if I was stupider.
But the world would never know your poetry.
How'd you know I write poetry?
Crap. But she's not suspicious, just curious.
Doesn't every young writer in New York? I read a lot of poetry.
Who do you like?
Mark Strand, Anne Sexton, Merrill.
You're basically describing my nightstand.
If you read those to get to sleep, you definitely belong here.
It's hard. It's lonely.
Yeah, it's also expensive.
Right? Oh, I feel like I'm on the verge of becoming some punchline, you know? Casualty of the big bad city.
Somehow I doubt it.
Their eyes meet, a moment between them, gently.
You don't know me.
I wouldn't say that. I know a few things. I know how you are in a crisis.
Yeah, a mess.
Alive and determined. Look, I get it. Pursuing your dreams is easy to feel like you're just chipping away at an entire glacier. But if you stick with it, there's a moment where the whole thing falls. Give up one chip before that, nothing. Stick it out enough, everything can happen at once.
Yeah, I like your thinking, Joe. What was your last name again?
Goldberg.
She tilts her head to the rest on the seat, closes her eyes.
Where did you come from, Joe Goldberg?
Grew up here. Left for a little while, chasing a girl.
But you came back.
Missed it. And I'm not a good chaser.
Me neither.
He's ready to go on, but he realizes she's dozing off. Joe watches her. Her head bobs as the car moves. After a moment, Joe shifts toward her and her head rests on his shoulder. They drive on like that. Interior cab, Beck Street, night. As the cab stops, Beck nods to the building outside.
This is me.
Bank Street. Not bad.
I'm secretly an heiress. Thanks for sobering me up and for saving my life.
I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
A beat. Is Beck going to ask Joe up?
Ask me up. You want to? Don't worry, I'll say no. It's too early.
Just then, a rap at Beck's cab window. She jolts. It's Benji. He gives a half wave.
Of course. Benji.
Beck rolls down the window. Joe pulls away a touch, obscuring his face in those shadows.
This is Joe, the guy who literally saved my life tonight.
So, yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, I fell and he...
See, babe, told you people are basically good. Great job, bro.
Bro, you waste of hair.
Benji sticks his hand in the window for a high five with Joe. Joe hesitantly complies.
Beck, let's go. It's freezing out here. Thanks again, Joe. Gold medal, brother.
Benji heads toward the apartment building. Beck meets Joe's eyes with a slightly embarrassed smile.
At least you're self-aware enough to be a little ashamed, I guess. Maybe I can get your info or...
Sure, yeah.
She feels in her pocket for her phone. It's not there. Looks around for it.
Oh, shit, my phone.
Are you sure it's not in your pocket?
I must have dropped it in the subway.
Give me your number for when you get a replacement.
I'm mostly enslaved to email.
We both know that's not true.
Bexalot@gmail.com.
All right, Bexlot.
Thank you. Night, Joe.
Beck pecks Joe on the cheek and gets out. Exterior Beck's apartment night. We see a light turn on in Beck's window as she enters with Benji. She's clearly a little mad at Benji for not showing up to the bar. He tries to nuzzle close. She pushes him away. He looks to be apologizing again. Across the street, Joe is back in his spying spot, watching.
Here's what I learned this week, Beck. You're special. You're talented. You're smart. You're passionate.
From Joel's voyeur POV, Beck relents. Benji pulls her onto him, kisses her.
Except in the ways you're really not.
Back with Joe. Then removes Beck's phone with its cracked screen from his pocket. Beck didn't lose it on the tracks after all. We realize Joe must have swiped it in the cab.
Like not locking your phone.
Joe swipes the phone. It unlocks. Beck's entire life is now open to him. He looks back up at her place.
And falling for men like Benji.
From Joy's voyeur POV, clothes are coming off as Benji, vape pen dangling from his teeth, moves Beck onto the couch to F her.
The thing that gets me is you know better and you still can't stop. You know he's bad news. You know.
Back with Joe for a moment longer. Joe forces himself to watch.
But you can't help it because you have no one and everyone needs someone. And when you need someone, you'll reach for anyone.
Then walks away. Exterior, the streets of New York night. Joe strolls along the avenue, just a fool in love.
You're inside a house fire, grabbing for anything in a panic. What you really need is someone to save you. From your useless mom, your asshole friends, that douchebag thesis advisor, from Benji.
Interior Beck's apartment, same time, where Beck and Benji finish having sex. Benji comes and rolls off her hold on her face, quietly unsatisfied.
I can help, Beck. Let me help you.
End of Act 5. Act 6. Exterior Joe's building night. Joe arrives at his place. The light in Claudia and Ron's window is on, but their apartment is silent for once. Joe's about to enter when from the shadows, he hears,
Joe.
Joe looks to where Paco stands in the corner, scared.
Paco? What is it?
Paco doesn't move. Joe crosses to him, sees more clearly that Paco looks shaken. He's clearly been crying.
It's Ron. He came home tonight, pissed and drunk, like usual. Only my mom's at work, and Ron started yelling at me, saying I thought I was so smart reading my books and looking at him like he's dumb.
What happened, Paco? Did he hurt you?
No, he didn't touch me, but he...
Paco looks heartbroken as he lifts the lent copy of The Count of Monte Cristo. It's torn and tattered.
I tried to stop him. I promise I tried.
We wonder for a moment what Joe is going to do. Joe looks up at Ron's window, then back to Paco. Airily zen.
Paco, it's okay. Come with me. We'll fix this together.
Interior Mooney's rare and used basement night. The lights flicker on, revealing a bomb shelter-like basement beneath the shop. Joe and Paco enter. Joe walks to a supply closet, and as he does, he explains.
The first step to fixing something, Paco, is to know that no matter how destroyed that thing seems, it can always be saved. Books are no exception. Got it?
I got it.
Okay, the tools may seem excessive, but usually the more fragile the item, the more specific the equipment.
Quick cuts as he removes items, places them on the table.
C-clamps to hold it. Drill bits, glue, specifically polyvinyl acetate, means no acid to ruin the pages. Glue brushes, burlap for the spine, needle upholstery thread, X-Acto knife, all. And finally, right out of Bugs Bunny, a big trusty mallet. Okay, let's get to work.
Intercut with Interior Benji's loft the next day. A live workspace with the trappings of a start. Cases of home soda, hot assistants milling about. Benji's on a couch next to a Bud Biz partner, Jono, playing a video game. Benji's phone buzzes. He checks it, lights up.
Damn, Juno. Listen to this. Dear Benji, heard about your soda from acquaintances. I'm interested in including you on my fall list of must-tries. Would love to discuss, perhaps even try some. Jeff Pevensey. That's the dude you're always retweeting. I can't do this at the same time. The culture guy from the New York Magazine. Hit him back, bro. No crap. Back off while I think. Jeff, so nice to hear from you, bud. Yeah, our sodas are legit.
Cut back to the basement. The C-clamps hold the book in place while Joe drills at the binding. More cuts as he repairs the book with the skill of a Swiss watchmaker, narrating as he operates.
Drill carefully along the spine. Watch your fingers, don't want to hurt yourself.
Cut back to the loft. Benji and Jono scour Jeff Pevensey's site online as they await a return email. Benji's phone buzzes again.
Sounds great, Benji. Would love to meet and sample some flavors, perhaps with curated plates. I can call between meetings to meet up if you're available. Holy crap! This is going to take us next level. What time do you think we'll meet? No offense, Juno. We discussed this. It's best if the product has one clear face in the beginning. That's just me.
Cut back to the basement. Joe finishes threading the spine of the book. He motions Paco to pull off the string.
Spine's threaded. I want you to pull the thread as tight as you can, Paco.
Paco pulls tight. Cut to a street near Mooney's. On Benji walking on his phone, we may notice he walks right past Mooney's rare and used. He has a box holding a 12-pack of flavors of home soda under one arm. Benji, following instructions, turns into an alley. He looks around a bit confused when he sees a man in the distance, out of focus, waving pleasantly.
Benji, it's Jeff.
Cut back to the basement. Joe finishes brushing glue and set the spine.
Glue is set. Apply the binder. Now you can't hesitate. You have to use all your force. We're going to round the binder to seal everything into place.
Joe lifts the mallet, swings it at the binding, bang. Cut back to an alley. The man holds his hand out as Benji approaches. We realize it's Joe, just in tweeds. Remember, Benji never got a good look at him in the cab. They shake.
Jeff, nice to meet you, man.
I know, it's weird, but it was the only office space in the neighborhood. A friend lets me work out of here if I'm in this area. After you.
Joe opens the door to a basement stairs. Benji stands in the doorway. It's dim, and suddenly, this all feels a little too weird, but he's eager, so Benji enters.
Just down and to your left. There.
Benji can't entirely shake the weirdness as he heads down into the basement. After a few steps, he reconsiders.
Hey, man, I'm thinking maybe
Benji turns to face Joe. Holding the mallet he used to repair the book, Joe swings it high, and before Benji can react, we smash to black. Over black, the ting of a shop bell as a customer walks in, fade in. Interior Mooney's rare and used books day. POV through shelves. A customer enters. We see only a sliver of her as we track through the stacks.
It's 2:00 when the door chimes, and I am ready. You told your girlfriends you would come by around this time. I know this because I have your phone.
Reveal the customer is Beck. She walks towards the counter where Joe rubs his sore shoulder absently as he sorts receipts. Ethan stacks the books nearby.
Hey,
They both look up. Beck is holding a brown bag. Joe looks surprised. Ethan smiles privately and looks away.
Hi.
remember me from almost dying on the train tracks?
Rings a bell.
I wanted to thank you.
You already did.
Well, I wanted to thank you again and say sorry for running off. So, hastily.
You had a guest.
Hardly. So I brought you a present.
She hands him the bag.
Thanks. You didn't need
Shut up. Just look at it.
He pulls out a Dan Brown novel.
From a competitor.
No, I actually owned this one.
He opens
Okay.
it. He opens it. It's inscribed.
Engine number 9 on the New York Transit line. If your girl falls on the track, pick her up, pick her up, pick her up. We already have in-jokes.
A beat. They stand there, Joe smiling, friendly but a little reserved. She's expectant. Finally,
So, anyway, that. I better.
Hey, maybe if you're not too busy sometime, we can grab a drink.
Sure. I still can't find my phone, so
I know. Email you.
that's right. See you, Joe.
Beck smiles and exits with a subtle swagger of a girl who knows she's wanted. Joe watches her go.
See you soon, Beck.
As she leaves, Ethan rounds the corner, arms full of books, to shoot a significant look Joe's way.
Well
Well,
played,
thanks,
sir. Oh, whoops, sorry.
I'm not always right. I'm human. I make mistakes all the time, Beck. You'll see. I'm going to deal with the shipment downstairs. Watch register.
Ethan gives him a nod. Joe heads to the back room and down the stairs and into Interior Mooney's rare and used, the basement continuous. A series of locks unlock. The door creaks open. Lights flicker on.
Hell, maybe I'm just a fool in love, but I swear I'm right about you, Beck. I know how special you are, and I'm going to help you get the life you deserve.
Joe eyes something in front of him. He's looking at the cage, and more specifically, Benji, forehead bruised and caked with dried blood, sitting huddled in the corner, locked in.
please, whatever you think I've done, I haven't. You have the wrong person.
No, I don't.
Benji shuts up. He's terrified of Joe. Joe smiles.
You're welcome, Beck. See you soon.
Snap to black. End of pilot. Yay! Woo! Good job, yous.
Abiskar has his party lights on.
Bar.
Yeah.
Finish the script. All right. That was such like the other guy, old man acting young. Cool. We're gonna do a quick little outro of everybody, and then we'll talk about that. There's a lot as we're going through it I wanted to talk about, and I didn't mark where it was. So hopefully we all can recall some of that. And we'll talk about that after the outros and 5-minute break. So first, in the corner, Vicky Dykes.
Hello, I'm Vicky Dykes. I'm from Penhold, Alberta in Canada. And If you want to contact me, I'm on Facebook under the name Vicky Dykes, and I'm also on Instagram. I'm YogaGramma7, and who knows? I'm thinking about setting something up with Twitter.
And next we have Erin.
Hi, I'm Erin Lillis. You can find me on Twitter at Ravie13. That's RAVIE13. You can find me in that same name on Instagram and on TikTok. I am Scarin B. Lillis.
All right. And next we have Ari.
Hi, I'm Ari Williamson. I'm a voice actor based in Calgary. You can find me on Facebook as Ari Williamson.
All right. And we have Heather.
Hello, my name is Heather Lee Cameron. I'm an actor, I'm a voice actor, I'm a writer, I'm an independent filmmaker, and I'm a family history research student from Lethbridge, Alberta. You can find me on Facebook under Heather Lee Cameron or Heather Lee Freelancer. You can find me on YouTube under The Storm and Latter-day Saint. You can find me on Twitter under Chameleon777771. You can find me on Instagram under Heather Lee Cameron. I'm on the actors pages. All my other personal links are connected to my YouTube channel. And if you have work for me, please feel free to email me at heather.lee.cameron@gmail.com. I don't have anything going on right now except for the online school, but I am eager to work and willing to work, honestly. I am auditioning constantly though, so that's work, I guess. And I am constantly writing my own projects, so that's work too.
Staying on it. Awesome. All right. If it doesn't go too long, if you can
and Jacob, really
yes.
quickly, I am eligible to work in both Canada and the US, and that's probably a big thing.
Sweet. Tax breaks, etc.
Yes, but you also have to file in both. Because filing taxes is important because it is tax season.
What did you I was going to ask if you can answer. If it's a quick answer it. If not, we can save it till later. 77771. I don't know how many sevens, but what's that number for, or it stand for? How many
Well,
sevens?
777 is always like, I like the number 7, and 777 has always been like my thing. I just have liked it. It's lucky for me. I like it.
And was that not available? You had to add the 1, or does that also?
I had to add the 1.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you. And the Canadian Peach, Angel.
Hi, I'm Angel, and you can find me at Angel CDP on Instagram. That's probably the easiest place to find me. And I write and make things. I create. That's about it. Thank you.
And next we have Roxane.
Hi, Roxane Armstrong. I am an actress here in Central Alberta. I am dipping my foot back into improv, which has been so much fun. So I just did another show with them, and we'll be doing another one next month. Oh, heaven help me. I've done a little bit of film and helping me break more into that. This has been really great for helping me bring things closer instead of the great big theater kind of stuff, which is I'm theater trained. I am on Facebook as Roxane Armstrong, Instagram as Roxane, and I had to look it up, but I do have a Twitter and I haven't been on for forever, and it's rock_Zany. So there you go.
Awesome. Thank you. And it's good to see you again, Abiskar. Thanks for joining us at the end.
Thanks. It's me, Abiskar, from Nepal, and you can find me on Instagram on being_Abiskar. And if you want to make any film, short films, you can find me on Facebook too at Abiskar Neopane. And yeah, I can say I'm a filmmaker now because I just won my filmmaking contest last week.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right, maybe we can hear more about that, or you can send us a link. But first, we're going to take a little break for anyone else who needs a drink, needs to go to the restroom, just needs a breath. And we'll come back in 5 minutes to talk more about the script for those who can. What are you thinking, Roxanne? Sorry.
Did I miss Aaron? Did Aaron? Okay.
Thanks for being concerned and making sure everybody got done, though. Appreciate that. Jacob Patrick at jacobpatrick.com, but mainly here, Table Read Tuesday, every single Tuesday on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc. But we'll talk more about the script for those who can stay, and others, if you have to go, have a good night. And so see you guys on the hour, which depending on wherever you are, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and I don't know what time it will be for you, Abiskar. Just kidding.
No, I'm sorry, I was late today. I was just, I was just jogging like 2 hours ago with my friend, and suddenly a car came and hit him. So we had to go to hospital. I mean, medical clinic, not really a hospital.
Yeah.
And, do the dressings, and then I came home. So I was a little late. I just came like half an hour ago, I guess.
Okay, I guess that's valid. That's a valid reason to be late. I guess we'll let that slide. I'm just kidding. Wow, that's crazy. How's he doing?
No, it's not like it was an accident. It's like he was on cycle and a car came by and just like, just hit him
Swipe.
and he fall.
So
So he had a scratch down on his leg, not
Okay.
biggest.
All right, good. Glad he's okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a 5-minute break and see everybody in a few minutes.
Jacob, for anybody who's interested, I just posted all my links in the chat.
Cool. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
You can always post them into the YouTube comments.
Yeah.
All right.
Lots of links.
Yeah. She's prolific. All right, see you guys in 5 minutes.
Hello. So funny thing, as I was just taking the break, I was thinking about about where the Storm and Latter-day Saint came from and why I changed that way. The original name of the channel was the Storm and Mormon, and I was thinking about how I guess it came that way because I had nicknamed myself the Storm and Mormon back when I started applying for Survivor a long time ago, before Canadians were allowed to start applying for it. And back when my mom and I applied to Amazing Race Canada seasons 2 and 3, I called us the Storm and Mormons. We didn't get on, obviously, otherwise you'd see us on the TV, but it was just such a special name for us, and I've kept the name. But the leader of my church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, asked us not to use the word Mormon anymore because it took Christ out of his own church, right? So that's why I changed it to the Storm and Latter-day Saint, to respect Christ in his own church.
All
If
right.
that makes sense to those who aren't religious. Does it?
I mean, I don't know the more stuff behind the word Mormon, but like when you said just those two names, I'm like, no, his name's not in either of those. But we don't need to talk about that right now. But thank you for sharing.
I know, since this is a pilot episode, I was thinking about my beginnings and my beginning of my channel and the whole brand, because I've had that brand since 2009.
Yeah, no, it applies to like our outros and stuff. But yeah, we'll talk about
It's a complicated history, but I was thinking about the beginning of my brand, and I thought it's an interesting piece to share in the intermission.
I was thinking about that. You made me think about that. I have a Ravenwolf Productions is my company, but I made that name up when I was in high school, and I feel like it's a little old, but it's still my company. So I still hold on to it, like you are.
That's true. Yeah. Like I also have the nickname Chameleon because, in, I believe it was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Tom Marvolo Riddle made up the name Voldemort from his first, middle, and last name, and you can make the name Chameleon out of Heather Lee Cameron.
Cool.
Yes, I was Ravenwolf Productions because my middle name means Raven. So yes, it's all that.
And I tend
Find your branding in your own name.
I sometimes like to blend into the furniture in public gatherings, so Chameleon really fits.
Awesome.
I know we're being weird, Jacob. Sorry.
No, thank you for sharing. And I'm sure that does make sense in the content. I just don't know enough about that. So I wasn't saying it makes no sense.
This is about a cycle, right?
Yeah.
We're kind of weird in our own individual way, and it's great.
This is the most true to life character I've played yet.
You were wonderful.
So do we get a tour of your basement dungeon?
Oh, you don't want that tour.
Well, they've actually used it for the set, so you've seen it.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's right behind me then.
Exactly.
Jacob has
That's my chair I'm sitting in right now.
She's talking about Aaron, who read Joe for the script.
Oh, I didn't think you were that kind of guy, but everybody has their things.
Well, it's starting to get. I started to question things more when he started to really investigate everything about Beck.
Yeah, and he starts to make up scenarios or thoughts about it or impressions or feelings about what he thinks he's seen or not. And
does he have a mental disorder? Because he suddenly starts getting obsessive about her and following her to the apartments and sneaking into her room and stealing her things and fantasizing about their life together when it's clear that he's barely met her or hasn't even met her.
2 episodes, so I can't tell you, but it's clear that he's done this before in the pilot.
Oh, to other girls.
Yeah. Or there's hints that he's done this before. Like he knows what he's doing.
Well, what happened to the other girls?
I guess we have to watch and find out.
Well, it said that he was married before or something.
Or he had some girl and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Did he kill the other girls when they wouldn't deal with his crap?
That or it was a divorce because they found out what he did with their what he did with their shitty boyfriends.
Did anybody else watch the series?
I've never heard of
I
it.
don't even know if it's
Oh.
on.
Yeah, I have binge watched all the episodes, like
Yeah.
from
I
season 1 to
watched
season 4.
in the
There's a
second
fourth
episode,
season?
they made it clear, or in the second episode, there's a scene where he runs into a woman that knew his ex, and she's like, "She's still missing, Joe. Have you seen her?"
Ah, spoilers. But yeah,
I need to find this. Where is
that's
it?
cool. Yeah. It's on Netflix.
Netflix.
Yeah, I
Netflix,
saw it.
Sorry.
Should we go through the questions that are
Yeah.
that we sent in the email?
The questions?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
didn't
in
see
our
I have to look for them.
There were research questions? Oh my god.
well, it's like
Not
about
research.
think about
It's just
the action descriptions.
I didn't know we had homework.
We don't. No, it's
Oh,
not.
Oh,
we
yeah,
don't do
there
it.
are
It's
some
just
options.
you know how lots of times our after discussions, which we love, goes in awesome areas and different things. We just hope to try and keep it about the script and the movie or show at first for a little while, and that we think the questions will help it keep us on track. And then after that, we can see where the
It's been
conversation.
a very, very long week.
yeah. And it's
So
only
the
Tuesday.
first one is what makes viewers like the main character? I think
Yeah,
that's
Well, he seems innocent at first, and then he turns out to be a villain in disguise.
I just looked the show up on Wikipedia and just read about about Joe, and oh my good God, for the seasons.
Has anybody read the book it was based on?
There's a book.
Yeah. I'm wondering because so I watched the first episode and it was clear to me that they were trying to make it feel like a romantic comedy.
Mhm.
And he has that likability to him where he's calm and cute, and they have the meet cute in the bookstore.
right.
And it's so perfect. He loves poetry too. But they pretty also make a really quick sharp turn into okay, now he's stalking her.
Mhm.
But it does feel like a genre switch at that moment because you
Yeah.
start feeling like it's a rom-com, and so you immediately like him because he's the underdog, and then oh shit, what's he doing? That's a little
He's
weird.
also he's taking care of the little boy. He's feeding the little boy his own food. He's helping the old lady hail the cab.
Yeah.
He's quite polite.
And they hint at him being abused by the old bookseller.
So it's
you
easy
feel
for him.
empathy for him too.
Oh, you think that's what it was? I
Oh
thought.
goodness.
He always
thought
like
that- Go ahead.
he always like try to he sympathizes everyone, like he sees himself in others like who go through this serious issues, so he always like to like protect them. He tries to be like more likable to them and in a way more relatable.
Yeah.
And it helps him to see himself as a good guy, I think. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, it does.
Totally.
Well, I was gonna say, like,
reminds me of
from the
something
thing
I've
from
seen.
Aaron about the bookkeeper, like you thought the black guy was from the bookkeeper. I was thinking he was kind of had a similar situation to Paco, where he didn't have a good childhood, and the bookkeeper kind of like took him in and taught him those things. So the black guy was like from his own family life.
Oh yeah,
And-
well, I think maybe it was in episode 2,
Oh,
but they
okay.
show him like hitting Joe.
Oh, really?
So
The
they're
guy
I don't know.
that's-
Yeah, the old
Oh,
the
really?
owner of the bookstore.
Okay.
This
Interesting.
totally
yeah, yeah.
reminds me of a web series, like a part of a web series that I've seen on Netflix called Talkie. It targets Saudi Arabian youth and showing their daily lives and stuff. And it reminds me of one of the characters who pretends to care about this one girl and stuff. And then he ends up being the one who totally ruined her life. And he manipulated her into loving him and all this crazy stuff. It's a really good series. It's called Talkie.
Thank you for that recommendation.
Well, there's something interesting also based on him being the narrator
Mhm.
and having all those VOs, and probably because it was a book, I'm assuming, but I don't know, that he was the narrator of the book, that he sees himself as a good guy. So at least in points, you can't help but see him as the good guy. But there's that, something, the one guy in the show who sees who he is that bad parole officer.
Yeah. And like I don't know. Never mind. Lost my thought. Next person.
Me too.
I think like this so that this uses a like first person narrative technique, which I guess allows the viewers to like understand Joe's perspective and his inner thoughts, uh, and kind of like create an intimacy between the viewers and the character, making him more relatable and likable. I guess that's what like makes us like Joe more than anyone in the show.
Yeah, and from what you said, Aaron, like that, it was from the book. So that's probably a reason they're like, how are we going to do this? Take this book into a show, into a movie with all this like internal dialogue that books always have. And I was curious to see how it's written. And now we can see on the page, they treated it just like a separate character.
Yeah.
Like they just had it. And that's how they chose to do it here. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I
Also, quick. Oh,
Good,
ahead,
Becky.
when I watched the pilot, I believed in his innocent facade up until she left the store. And from that moment on, I was suspicious of him. It's probably because I really like detective stories and Sherlock Holmes, Agatha Christie, anything like that. And it makes you be suspicious. And I found he was easy to be suspicious with right from the beginning, really. He gives the impression he's pulling the wool over everyone's eyes.
I did notice one trick that I think they were doing intentionally. But in the first scene, he mentions that the owner of the bookstore wants to keep the celebrity authors up front. And we find out, he tells her that he's the bookstore manager, so we know he's not the owner. And then we met Ethan, who comes out and talks about the celebrity books. So you, in that moment, think Ethan is the owner. So there's a moment where you're like, oh, this poor guy in his late 20s, early 30s, he's a manager of a bookstore, and this younger guy is the owner. So Joe's not successful. He's poor, probably. Later in the episode, you find out Joe is Ethan's boss, but not in that meet cute in the beginning. Like they do it intentionally to make him look lower in stature than he is.
interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They also very they show how dangerous it is to have all of your info out there, that he could find out where she lives and everything. I mean, I think you mentioned once that women like him or something, and maybe they would without knowing all of that.
I mean, they watched the show, and despite what gender, well, maybe they're attracted to how he looks for one, but number two, like they like someone being that interested in them, that a person, or you guys can tell me why, like trying to be that protective of someone really understanding them. You know what I mean? Like really.
Well, and that he could see her even in her private moments and still like her and be interested in her. Yeah. But there's there's definitely for me a part where he becomes creepy and just like he's grabbing her underwear and puts it in his pocket. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about if I don't know, on making that, like that's that stuff like that is where they do that item. It's like, all right, now you're going to start dividing the audience right there. Like if you didn't do that one thing, it's a little more innocent, but like that's where he steps that line. And I feel like, or where do you guys feel like that is within the, I mean,
Well,
the
then
whole
he broke
thing.
into her house.
It's for me, it was when he was masturbating on the porch.
Yeah.
It was like, could have followed you to that point. Yeah.
In the show, I didn't really catch that. What did you catch that in the show?
Yes.
Yeah, he does that in
And
every
in the script, yeah.
season.
Yeah, I watched the first episode.
after-
I missed
after
that for
every
some reason.
goal.
Okay.
Oh, is that when he's watching her?
When he's watching her masturbate, he's also
Yeah.
masturbating.
That
And then he gets busted by the old lady
Yeah.
who needs the cab.
Yeah.
Hello.
And has to put her on away.
Yeah.
And I apologize for saying those lines too soon. I thought I got lost and I thought I heard Vic, but it was Beck.
Yeah,
So-
I had gotten lost. For some reason, I was just dyslexically transposing Joe and Beck, and I thought it was a Joe line.
Yeah, I mean, we do it all. Like I read a Joe thing today, which I'm sorry about, and I don't know, massacred lines. Then some of these, again, you voice actors, so much respect. I practiced or thought about a few lines yesterday or whatever, and then as I'm reading through, and as soon as they show up and I kind of do it, none of that's there. Anything I was thinking ahead of time, anything I practiced, none of that came off, and it's just So good job, you guys that can do that. All right, what else about this story, the script, the character? Oh, I noticed from just watching it too that, and I love doing the table reads, and when you do watch the show or movie recently before, that you see all the stuff that they took out and stuff. Like a lot of the different paragraphs of the conversations, like half of whatever's in the dialogue in the script, I feel like wasn't what they said in the show. Like they only needed a half of it. They only needed a half of it and stuff. So I think that's cool to see.
I was looking this up because I've been thinking about this ever since we read the unpublished script. But the label on the front page says this is the studio draft. So I thought, okay, well, what's a studio draft? And so I was looking it up earlier and I found out there's the network draft, which I thought might be the similar, but it's not. Because the network draft would be the after it was edited and sealed and done, and this is the draft we send with the show that's complete, and we send it to the distributors and have them use that draft to do the translations and whatnot. So I thought maybe that's what this was, but it's not, because as you mentioned, there are scenes in this script that are not in the show. So what is a studio draft? Does anybody know?
I think networks, they have to send it to the censors and see what is okay to actually air. And because I think the censors have to tell you, oh, this is okay and this is not okay. That's what I'm assuming, right, Jacob?
It might be different for Canada. I mean, the TV censors, Netflix censors.
Well, and this is streaming, straight to streaming, so they don't really have to do that.
And the stuff that was cut out was not questionable. It was just like Jacob said, extra lines.
It was a change in the actual episode. She had him put his phone number on her phone. There wasn't the email thing. That didn't happen.
Well, sometimes they cut things that are not relevant to the overall story, and sometimes they cut things that are like, you know, they don't have enough time for. They sometimes compress things that they can perhaps squeeze into one scene, and it's all about relevance and time and everything like that.
Yeah. They say to take out anything that doesn't move the story along.
Right. That's why they have deleted scenes in certain films, so they can put irrelevant things in there that don't make the final cut.
And some of these, I'm curious when that happened. Like, was there another draft after this, or a couple drafts after this, where they cut some of that stuff and change it, or was it on the day of the set? They're like, "What do you want to like?" Once they see it happening, they go, "It just doesn't feel right. Why don't we just try this?" Yeah, or editing for some of the lines.
Like, was it edited for time to because there is still, even though it's streaming, the specific time that it has to come in and come out at. So.
Yeah, like I'm just looking at, I think, don't quote me on it, I'm not sure, but I think that Paco's whole speech about Dumas being a black dude, I don't remember that being in the episode.
No, I feel like I remembered him called out Dumas for something like, but nothing like that specific or sorry. And he did say like this other thing that happened in Three Musketeers, and you probably know that, huh? Which was much shorter. And Joe did say, no, I didn't know that, like in the episode or whatever, which he doesn't say that here. Here, it almost seems like he just ignored it, if I'm remembering correctly.
I think this is one of those shows that could not have existed anytime but right now.
Yeah.
Although, don't you feel it's very similar to Dexter?
I have never seen
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Oh.
I was just thinking in the frame of her social media, like her entire life is exposed. It really does kind of show it, you know, your entire life is exposed, how easy it is to find you.
Yeah.
All of that kind
of stuff. At least in the last decade.
To me, the most shocking was no curtains on her windows on a first floor apartment. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, and you might think that's, but I see people that are like that. You know, being like, okay, because I would never be like that.
I think it could also be similar to The Sopranos, because the main character is doing whatever he can to get whatever he wants, without any regard for whatever feelings may be involved in whatever people may feel about him or the situation. Like he pretty much kidnapped the guy and locked him in a freaking freezer and doesn't give a crap that the guy's probably going to die in there.
Well, all right, let's do this.
Like the lack of feeling towards this guy's situation is like Tony Soprano level. He's like, I don't care about you. I want the girl. I'm going to get the girl. Screw you.
Yeah.
He does seem to have like a knowledge of what's right and wrong. And
Like
knowing-
sociopath.
Yeah, because he does say that, make a comment like early on where like Ethan is like, you should Google her. And he's like, that's a little aggressive, dude. He's
He just wants
for
to hide
sure
that.
knows that he's doing something wrong.
So
Yeah.
let's ask everyone. Like Heather said, why she thinks what his thinking is when he's doing that to that guy. What do you guys all think the exact same thing, or do you guys have any other thoughts of what his thinking is of
It was
why
pretty-
he's locking
yeah.
that guy and where his directions are?
Was pretty self-serving because he wasn't that bad of a guy to end up being in.
So you also
Yeah,
feel like
he's
it's
a-
self-serving. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. 'Cause he's kind of he's a douche, but he's not needing to be murdered. I don't know. I don't think it's.
Well, and that's what you think his plan is, to murder him.
I don't. Well,
Or make him feel like he wished he was dead.
So Vicky's shaking her head that yes, to murder him. And
I think it's a
Yes.
plan. I think he's done this before. We just don't know yet how much of a sociopath he is, that he's capable of really
Oh.
horrible things.
for
I
sure.
feel like
I did something. I went to the 3rd season to watch a few trailers to see how things progress. And it really does
Spoiler
get very
warning. Just kidding.
interesting. I'm not going to tell you anything, but it gets very interesting.
Right.
Interesting.
You know,
I totally thought I was
sociopath-
caught up. I've only done two seasons.
Sociopaths have patterns that they do not break, even though they try to, they cannot break it. And even though they try to get out of the life of the sociopath and try to pursue something better, they find themselves drawn back into the world because it's too addictive. They get a rush from being a sociopath.
I
It
forget
fills,
the,
it fills them with
Yeah.
adrenaline. It fills them with adrenaline and joy.
I wonder if
Joe
there's-
gets
I
to
forget the
point
difference
that he
between
wants to be normal. I'll tell you that. He does.
Okay.
Sociopaths can't be cured, though. It's impossible.
not
As much
talking
as they
about-
try to be cured, it's impossible. And they're like, okay, I'm a sociopath eventually. And they accept themselves and they go on.
But
it's
from the show,
interesting.
I
from the
think that in the
pilot.
show. Oh, sorry, Erin, go ahead.
yeah, from the show, Vicky says Joe wants to be normal, but yeah, Erin, what were you going to say?
Well, from the pilot, it seems like from what we know from this episode, that he does have that sense of right and wrong, because if he didn't, he might have left her on the tracks to die. But even though he was not supposed to be there, he revealed himself to help her and save her. And like, he helps the old lady, he helps Paco. So he either has a good heart and he's torn down the middle, or he's very good at masking.
Well, no, here's the
I have
thing.
a
The
thought on
addiction
that,
is.
but before my thought,
Sorry,
Roxanne,
Jacob.
Roxanne, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say, I think that it justifies it to himself that he is helping take care of Beck, and he's removing this bad thing from Beck's life, when in reality, he's removing an obstacle that's in the way of him achieving his goal, which is to get Beck.
Like, here's the thing. The addiction is Beck. The addiction is Beck, and he will do whatever he must and hurt whoever he must in order to feed his addiction.
Yeah, I agree
That
with
is
that.
not my takeaway from it, but yeah, I hear you. Mine was similar to what I think. I was maybe taking what he was saying in it too literally, but I
have a strange perspective on it, given my life experiences. I acknowledge that, but everybody's perspective is valuable.
for sure. And we each can take away our own type of thing from.
This is
any
what this
form of
is. This
art.
is an education session in which we learn
But-
from each other, and that's great.
But here's
From
a
my,
spoiler.
like-
I think behind Angel, we see Beck in the cage.
No, you can't see that. La la la
But yeah,
la la. You can't
I
see
was maybe taking
anything.
what he was saying to, like, I don't know, like believing in what he thinks he believes or whatever, coming to the same conclusions that Roxanne was having, that he thinks he's doing this to help her. And one of the reasons I brought this up earlier is he says something in this the screenplay, well, two things I wanted us to go over. And one that sounds like it could be the theme of the show, or the message of the show, or his thinking. And another was like what he might, again, maybe I'm totally wrong, but it felt like what his approach was with having the guy inside there. So one, he says, I'm going to give you the life you deserve, or something like that. But I was going to ask you guys what you think that is, but I think my thought process is different. So I should go ahead.
I have a question though. How much of what he is seeing and doing and experience is actually real, or how much is actually in his mind? Because this is starting to, like, his whole thought process is starting to make me think of this episode of The Outer Limits called Tempests, where this dude is bitten by this huge, weird alien spider, and he starts hallucinating, unable to tell what's real and what's fantasy. And I'm wondering how much of this is actually in his mind and how much is real.
Mhm.
I'm wondering,
think that-
back to, sorry, go ahead.
I think that in the sense of this episode, the only part that's in his mind is the fantasy of him humping Beck, because if him meeting with Benji was a fantasy in Joe's mind, there wouldn't have been the scene with Benji talking with Jono about the texts he was receiving for the guy to meet him. Because that would have
Right,
been
'cause it's not
something more
POV.
there. If it was in Joe's imagination, he would have been inserted into that in some way.
But then how do you explain the sixth sense? Because the one that Malcolm Crowe was dead the whole time, and yet he had this huge fantasy world play out like everywhere.
This isn't the Sixth Sense stuff.
I would argue that I don't think he had a fantasy world. I think he only had access to certain scenes in the Sixth Sense. But I do think, to an extent, rewinding what I said before, I do think that Joe thinks he's the leading man in a romantic comedy. Because
Yeah.
even when he's like broken into her apartment and he's stuck in the shower, he said, I've seen enough romantic comedies to know
Yeah.
I'll get out of this.
Yeah, true.
He
I do-
even says, actually,
I do think that he thinks he's doing the right thing, and I think he thinks that his heart is in the right place and he's helping, but he is self-serving.
So
With this,
he's like
I do agree with Heather that that she's his addiction at the moment.
So he's more like the dude in Breaking Bad, claiming, oh, he's doing it for the family and doing it with good intention, but he's really a selfish prick.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
there's
I-
a line in Joe's thoughts while he's inside the shower where it says, and I thought it was Joe's thoughts. It might have been stage directions, but I'm pretty sure it was Joe's thoughts, where he said something about it would end the pilot if she had stepped into the shower.
It was in the stage directions.
Was it?
But I was thinking I was going to mention that because the stage directions were self-aware that it
Yeah,
was a pilot.
I don't remember that in the actual episode, just in the script.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's to the reader. So this is the one thought is, like, again, probably totally off about something about his thought process. Like, the first step to fixing something, Paco, is to know no matter how destroyed that thing seems, that it can always be saved. Books are no exception. So it's like, that's one of his thought processes about maybe trying to fix it. This is not
Or
what
fix
I feel is that-
himself.
Maybe.
Maybe he was referring to himself. Maybe he was thinking,
Yeah.
oh, I can be saved from this addiction of mine. Maybe I can cure myself because I've done this before and I'm ashamed of it and I want to fix it. I just don't know how, but I can figure it out. I know I can figure it out.
Do you
I'm
think
not a
that
lost
he's
cause.
aware? Do you think that he's aware of it being an addiction and something that is
Well,
out of control of yet
Yeah.
at this point?
I do not.
I
I
don't
think he thinks
know.
that he's the victim from his previous relationship, and that's why he's got to do the reconnaissance research to make sure Beck's okay, to
Right.
save his
You
own
did
heart.
mention that as well. Like, I gotta make sure this is legit.
I think in order to be able to fix an addiction, you have to be aware it's a problem and take ownership of it first. And that's one
And I
of the
don't think he's
steps.
there. Yeah.
And it does seem like, again, maybe
knows-
because he
looks like
just
he
feels like
knows
he's doing
something.
reconnaissance to protect himself, but also showing that he knows, again, the right and wrong, because he's hiding everything that he's doing. He's hiding on the other side of the street.
Then
He's going into the shadows. He's hiding all this stuff. So he knows it's not something for other people to see or be out there. And
then
you
he
know,
hasn't taken ownership of it and he's not capable of being helped yet.
Yeah. Probably not.
Maybe that's the arc Maybe that's what you see in like season 3.
Sorry,
Mhm.
Jacob. I hate to blow out the flame, but he's not capable of being helped if he's still hiding it.
Yet, yeah.
Well, I'm not as black and white as that on this, but
Like it's about ownership. If you want help in getting better from anything or any problem, you have to acknowledge that it is a problem and say, help me. I'm willing to be helped. I'm wanting to get better. Help me.
that is definitely an important step.
That's
So
the first step.
protagonist and antagonist, protagonist. It's who are the protagonists and antagonists?
To be fair, from what I gathered, especially after we started to see more of the colors of Joe, most of the characters in their own rights are terrible people, except for maybe the old lady. And
Oh, that's because you don't see more of her. Oh, she's
Yeah.
the worst.
I
I'm
know
just
she's probably been bad by the end of by this series end.
I think it's
Because-
New York and everybody has their issues.
Because he's a borderline stalker. Beck has
Borderline?
It's just fake.
Well, he actually is.
Yeah, yeah.
What's that?
I was just bringing out when you said borderline, and I'm like, he's a stalker.
Oh yeah, no. Well, obviously, I was
Yeah.
trying to be nice.
I know.
No, I'll screw
No point,
be
no
nice.
point.
Beck has an unneeded addiction to her douchebag boyfriend,
Yeah.
and is in unfortunately a crummy situation where she seemingly can't get out of. Her professors know, but it does not help the situation.
No.
The only one who's actually no, I take it back. The old lady's off the hook. Paco is probably the only innocent one here,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm.
and maybe Ethan.
Peach wasn't so bad. I mean, he mentioned that, oh, she's speaking so horribly. She did speak horribly, but I guess she was embarrassed for her, but she didn't say anything to Beck. She could have done that and instead just talked behind her back. So
Oh yeah,
Mhm, mhm.
so
But it was-
protagonist, antagonist. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to just say exactly that. This is, I think, a good one. It might be clearer to some, but who is the antagonist in this?
They're
I don't
certainly the
like it.
anti-hero.
It's not explicitly defined, like, but it could be argued that Joe's own inner thoughts and his own obsessive behavior may be the antagonistic
Oh.
force.
Mhm.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah, exactly. That's why I think it's a good question, because it could be himself, it could be this. But as like Heather was saying, like if his addiction, his goal is Beck, then the person that's stopping him from getting Beck, like you guys are saying, his interest is that other guy. I forget his name.
Benji.
Benji.
Well, all the characters, all of them, or at least most of them, they can all be gray.
Yeah, and I think that's what it seems like they do more with shows these days, right? Or trying to do, where there is more gray. Like,
Like-
she isn't fully perfect and good. She has some good and bad. He has some good qualities to him, but then he has a lot of bad too.
Yeah.
Do you guys think so, or what do you guys think?
So on one hand, on one hand, Joe's the hero, but on the other hand, he's also the antagonist.
That's
I like
why
what
think-
Abiskar said about him in the inside and outside. The thoughts are bad. He's got a little devil on his shoulder. That's the bad guy.
Yeah.
That's why I think he's sort of like Tony Soprano, because in a way, Tony defends his family. He does what he can to take care of his family, but he does very antagonistic things to do that.
So if it helps you guys, the protagonist is the main character of a story. Doesn't matter if they're likable or not likable,
Interesting.
or good or bad. It's basically the lead, the main character figure in one of the most prominent figures in a real situation, or the advocate or champion of a particular cause or situation. Anyways, it's the leading character. The leading.
At least I just said hero. Good to know.
Yeah. And then the antagonist is anything that's getting in the way of the protagonist and their goal.
Well, he could be the
Benji.
antagonist too, because his actions could also hinder himself.
Mhm.
So would this character be a bit of an Injima then?
Oh,
I don't
what?
know that word actually.
What?
Me neither.
Mysterious.
Okay.
He could be, I don't know if he's heroic yet,
Oh,
but he
enigma.
thinks he's heroic. So
He-
maybe he's a delusional Injima.
Yeah, he feels like he's doing a heroic thing, I think, at the end by trapping Benji and saving Beck from him. You know,
So in this particular episode, probably Benji would be the antagonist then, even though he doesn't even really meet him until
I
or
mean, if you say that the Joe sees a hindrance to his romantic pursuit of Beck, could be considered as antagonist.
Yeah, with like the friends and the professor and the friends as being like lower level antagonists or coming up next antagonists.
Because like if we go by with what Angel had said, yeah, technically, even though they didn't meet until the end, Benji is the antagonist in this episode.
Actually,
Because-
everybody in this episode is the antagonist.
Oh yeah, no, there's that too.
good.
Like
So yeah,
that's up there
Everybody
with
except
'cause
Paco.
yeah, because like when I said, like they're all terrible
Yeah.
in their own right.
Mhm.
oh, cool. Anything you guys noticed that's different about the writing of this script from other ones we've read or things you're told? Oh, here's one thing. At one point, someone said there's 5 acts on like TV shows or TV series. Like this one
Okay.
made it clear that this one is 6 acts. So that is a thing to point out.
yes.
I don't know enough about TV writing to know, like, I know in film writing you have the plot points and your moment of, I forget the phrase, but when the action starts.
Inciting incident.
Yeah, the
Right.
inciting incident. Thank you. But in a TV script, do you have that for each episode? Do you have that arc of your character change? Because
Well, there's a teaser, right?
yeah, but I mean, like in the episode, does he change from beginning to end? I'm assuming he will over the arc of the series,
Yeah.
but does he have to within the episode of a single episode? Does anyone have to change? I guess Beck does.
It doesn't seem like there's much of an arc of anybody in this show yet.
Oh,
And
I'm
I think that's the thing with TV shows sometimes too, is like, and again, it depends on the type of show. Like this one is probably going to have arcs or changes throughout, like you're saying, the whole series or whatever. But then there's procedurals where it's almost purposeful for no one to have an arc because that way they can just keep going on forever.
Mhm.
Although this one isn't necessarily like that. I think they just maybe have to have a goal in the conflict or the story. I don't know enough. I haven't thought
Yeah,
about it
I
enough to come
Yeah.
to a conclusion. So I don't want to say.
Maybe we should do some
definitively.
homework on
Yeah.
So good
Great.
questions. Good
Yeah.
I'd
questions.
say, like, for your acts in the TV script, like, is there an inciting incident or an arc to know when your one act is beginning and one is ending?
I don't know enough about that, but I know each one you want to like as like almost like a cliffhanger. So people like almost like the commercial breaks.
right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Where you want
yeah,
to
so that-
that's what it is.
so people will come
Commercial
back.
breaks.
I would say the inciting incident of this one is right at the beginning when he meets her in the bookstore.
Yeah.
That's what gets the story going and happening.
Yeah.
If we go by those things, again, you don't have to go by those things. What's the next one that would be like refusal of the call? So that would be like him maybe saying, if at one point he's like, okay, no, I'm not going to follow her. No, I'm not going to do this. And then later he actually ends up doing it.
When he
But-
took her phone,
Mhm.
he took.
I mean-
What would that be?
But that's much later too. And that would be,
It is.
I don't know what that would be, if that would even be anything.
A
Again,
minor
No,
we
twist.
put these
I have
labels on the-
heard.
Hmm.
Oh, I have heard that each TV series has its own progression of arcs and all of that. So it maybe I don't know, maybe it doesn't come up. Maybe the
No, yeah, and with that, a lot of people say no, each scene should have it. Like each scene should start one place, in one place, or they're fight over everything, and each probably act, and then each episode, and then each what's it called? Series, like season. But
I think somebody
did not-
mentioned like each episode should have a cliffhanger, so you want to go to see the next one.
Yeah.
I would say that. I wonder if they have to do that, especially in a Netflix series, because we want you to binge.
yeah.
We want you to just start the next episode right away.
I'm sure they do for that, but I almost feel like it at least to me, it could be less in a Netflix series than a TV show you have to wait every week for.
It
Because
automatically comes.
yeah, because it'll just come, even if you're not into it and you just don't hit stop, it's going to play anyways. But like the net series where you have to wait a week, you have to want to come back. You have to remember to come back. You have to like be worth it rather than just get distracted by something else. Is my own take. But I'm sure it's good to have them in both. But yeah, good question. Other thoughts on that or anything else?
Helping me to see how little I know about TV series.
Yeah. So anybody that watches this and knows more and like going, oh, you guys are annoying me. You're missing the point of this.
Yeah.
Please put it in the comments for other people. Help other people.
Yeah,
We'll
do
read
it.
them. Help us. You know what I
I'm
mean?
good with being wrong. I'm okay with it.
And I love learning.
How
So
we
I love
learn.
learning more.
That's the main thing.
Also consider joining Table Read Tuesdays.
Yes. And
Read
so you can be
Tuesdays.
here and you
Yes.
can bring more education and instruction for all of us and everyone.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
read.
and we do have other readers. I'm thinking of. I'm like, if that person was here tonight, they would have a little more insights on this subject and could share it. But yeah.
Abiskar has to go to school.
Oh, didn't
Got
see
a tie
that.
on.
Abiskar, thank you for coming and looking
Thanks.
good.
I'm just
Looking
taking,
sharp.
my uniform. I guess I need to go.
All right. Thank you
There
for
was,
sharing the
there was-
insights and stuff.
Sorry.
Thanks.
Thank you for sharing your insights.
Yes,
and
thank
you
you
for
for
joining. Tell your friend. We hope
It's
uh,
better.
all
No,
is
he's
good.
good.
Yeah.
He's good. He's coming to school. I just called him. He's okay.
Oh, good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
right, have a good
It
day,
was
school.
grateful session to absorb all this insights on this episode of you. I really liked this show. I have binge watched all the 4 seasons, and part 2 is coming on March 9th. So maybe we could do the second part too very soon.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Well, we've already, this year we've got everything figured
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year's plan. Well, I was thinking soon is relative. Like it could be next year. It could be, but there's so many shows out there, so many movies. I'm guessing we'll probably go with others, but yeah, we'll see. Or you
Let's
do
see.
one too with your friends. You know what I mean? And we'll watch it or link it.
Okay, fine. Okay, bye.
All right.
Bye, have a
Bye,
good
everyone.
school.
Roxanne is yawning.
I got
All
the
right.
I got the ons today.
Yeah.
So what are we
Yeah.
doing-
Have some
Midnight movie
coffee.
table reads.
what are we doing next week?
Is that like
I think
Oscar or
it's the
something?
Simpsons.
I
No.
believe it's
Oh,
Simpsons.
Simpsons. Yeah, it is a Simpsons.
You only move twice.
Simpsons.
It's one of my favorite episodes.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. I was gonna like, am I the only one that's gonna go?
Help me!
All
Don't.
right.
Oh, homie.
Sneeze.
This is Jacob. We're auditioning.
I thought about that. I noticed some of that. Well, okay, these are the favorite characters. This is who they like and maybe want to do.
I already sent Jacob the characters that he should put me on, especially one of them is very specific.
Oh.
Yeah, I haven't decided yet, but I will.
All right, cool. I haven't watched The Simpsons for a long time, but I used to love that show so much.
I used to go to the video store on the Toonie Days and get the videotapes.
That's
I
what I
have-
feel. Go ahead.
I haven't watched The Simpsons since they were on Tracy Ullman.
Wow.
I've seen it since then.
My granddaughters watched it this afternoon.
How old are they?
That's the shocking thing. 8 and 10.
Oh, please. I was watching Simpsons since probably even younger than that, because the show as a show came out in 89 and I was born in 88. So
89?
Yeah, my brother and I, like, we remember watching it when we were young kids living in High River and Nanton, and like in the 90s, we remember watching it.
Jacob,
Yeah.
you probably know it used to be a little short on the Tracy Ullman show in like 87.
I remember it was a short on that, but I didn't remember that. I must not have really known about in my brain, my memory isn't till 91. But obviously it was before that. But like, because I remember, okay, I'll give away my age. I don't care. But probably about me being around 11 in 6th grade then or something. Like I picture thinking about it or talking about it while I'm at middle school or something.
Well,
So what's in my head.
so in '89, in December of that year, their very first episode as an actual TV show was a Christmas episode which is where they get Santa's little
Oh, I remember that episode. It was so sweet.
So I just read something. Back to you. The antagonist, they say, other people, Heather, you'll like this. The antagonist of You is Ron, the villain.
Of course, he's the abusive one.
Yeah.
Ron, the next door neighbor
that might
stepdad.
be
This is
later.
of this series, of this
Yeah.
season 1.
Season.
Yeah.
Not
not
this
Oh,
not
of the
big
season.
episode.
Oh, okay.
The
Then
season.
he probably dies at the end of the season if he's just of the season.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Oh, well,
I haven't watched it, so
Not giving the spoilers away, but I actually don't remember.
Yeah, I feel like I got most of my. Sorry, never mind. I was gonna go back to Simpsons. Like drawing style of like animated things. I think I got from the Simpsons. Like that's when I was really copying how they do the eyes and the nose and all that stuff and the ears. Off in there.
When I was 11, because of a gag, when Homer has a barbecue, when Lisa becomes a vegetarian, I started to work on Mr. Burns's voice, and so I can do a very good impression even from a young age.
All right, show us real quick. Give us a sample.
You know, Smithers, I think I donate $1 million to the local orphanage. When pigs lie. Will you be making that donation now, sir? I'd still prefer not.
That's pretty nice. That is good. Thank you. All right. Angel was trying to keep it on track, and then I kept pulling it off the track.
Sorry.
maybe we're at
Would
the
you
end
say
of
it's
the
a
track.
runaway
Where's the
railway?
train run?
run away. Oh.
Yeah.
Pull it up.
By the way,
Yes.
Vicky, amazing voice.
Oh, Vicky.
I had
We say that
amazing
every
voices
week.
this
So
evening.
great.
Vicky, you need to get on Twitter and start taking some casting calls.
I am considering it.
I'm just gonna.
Did you even look up on
Let me see it.
Twitter for that?
There is an account called VA Casting Call that retweets all the casting calls. It's the
Okay.
one account you should follow. It's called
Yeah.
VA Casting RT. I'll put the link in the
Like it's very fun to go on Twitter and try. Even if you don't get it, you get your name out there.
And castingcall.club is great too for newbies.
Thank you.
I won't speak against them.
And
Yeah, I use the casting call club. It's how I got my Digimon project.
Yeah, but even I would recommend Twitter as well. Just
I'll use it too. I just grabbed the link and I'm following them now.
The good thing about castingcall.club is that you can hear everybody else's auditions.
oh, cool.
Oh yeah.
So you can actually hear like what you're up against.
Whoa.
Oh,
I think I'd be less likely to audition.
Yeah. But then you're like, oh, they have a better microphone. Or, oh, they didn't do that many takes. Or, oh, a lot of times people will audition for things that are older like than they actually are. And they try to do an old voice and it just never sounds real. Speaking from, I've done this, not I've heard this.
Yeah. No, I think that's an important thing for all of us, whatever industry we're in, or doing, look at the competition and see what you can learn from that or what they are doing right that maybe you are missing that you can improve upon yourself.
Exactly. I took some of the editions that I've listened to on the Casting Call Club and it was like, I should try that kind of pitch, or I should try that.
Cool. Thank you for those links. It does sound like the time that we're wrapping up, and I know you guys are tired. Do you want to wrap up, or do we want to go off the rails for a little bit?
I'm
Okay.
about to leave, so you guys can do whatever you'd like to do.
I
All
am
right.
also calling her quits tonight. I
Yeah,
am.
that's what I thought.
I'm
All right.
tired.
Yeah, if
Yeah, we'll
anybody
talk-
wants to
thank you,
discuss
guys.
how to find good casting calls on Twitter, please DM me. I'm more than happy to share some tricks because I've been doing it for a while.
Good to know. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. Also,
I don't
Roxanne, go
mind-
have some.
I don't mind sharing my tricks with people I like, and I like you all.
Thank you.
You know, also, we like you too.
Oh, that's kind. And what's with the
I've got
teddy bear?
tricks to
I'm
share, too.
distracted now by this teddy bear on the screen.
What were you gonna say,
All right.
sweet Harry?
I thought it was more fun to
I'm
look
gonna
at. than
say
me.
to you go have some caffeine, coffee, or something.
No,
Heck
sleep.
no, it's bedtime.
Ah, fair enough.
It
I
is
want carrot cake.
bedtime.
All right. Sleep well, everybody. Make sure you close those curtains so nobody's watching you.
Yeah.
I could not-
always watching you.
Mine are always closed.
Moral of
I don't
So
even have
heavy,
windows
like
in my
plaid.
room. So ha.
Was that
Steak
Vicky?
pie.
Stationary bicycles.
Do you know what? I'm like a creature that bumps in the night.
So?
She bumps in
Heather,
the night.
are you trying to tell us you're Mr. Bumpy?
Oh, yes.
Please tell me.
I'm
you caught that
always
reference.
watching.
Please tell me you caught the
Now
reference.
Roxanne is like, I'm leaving.
I
On
just
that
know- I thought
note,
we were gonna
I'm
finish
gonna,
up.
I'm gonna say
All right, good
toodaloo.
night, everyone. Good night.
night,
We'll see you
everyone.
next
Good night,
week.